Hey guys, tonight we're crossing a bridge older than your student loan debt. A mossy stone arc that's watched 7 centuries of footsteps fade into twilight. Picture this: a single lantern sways ahead, flickering like your phone at 2% as dusk bleeds into indigo. That first star, call it nature's live notification. Your left shoe grinds grit into ancient granite, soundtrack by the river's lazy yawn below. Let's get real. This bridge has outlived plagues, wars, and 3 separate boy bands. You probably won't survive its quiet. But hey, neither will your ego after this story. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment. Where's your body right now? Toronto, Mumbai, some questionable airport bathroom. Tag your local time too. Let's see who's braving this at 3 a.m. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Cool air licks your neck as you step forward, each cobble worn smoother than a con artist's pitch. That lantern still teasing you like a faulty GPS. 17th century merchants hauled indigo and silk across this spine of stone, their ghosts probably judging your cargo of breath mints and existential dread. Your thumb brushes the rail, rough grooves worn by palms that bartered, prayed, or clung during typhoons. Historians still argue whether these marks came from tools or 1,000 desperate grips. A bat zips overhead, nature's drone shot. You flinch. The lantern chuckles. 12 generations of moss cushion your soles, now green velvet over stone ribs. Did you know some claim this bridge's mortar contained egg whites and rice paste? Tastes better than your roommate's cooking, I bet. Your right foot hesitates. The 10th stone wobbles like a bad lie. Lean left. Always left. Wind riffles the river below, a black mirror shattered by your shadow. That star's doubled now, one above, one drowned in water. Your phone's dead, obviously. No playlist but the frog's bass line and your pulse thumping quarter notes. 17 steps in halfway. Don't ask. The bridge isn't telling. Your elbow grazes iron cold as a lawyer's handshake. Rust flakes cling like confetti from a very sad party. Ancient kings crossed here to prove their divinity. You, just trying not to pee yourself. A fish gulps air, the river's punctuation mark. 3 ripples spread slow motion Morse code, translating to keep moving. Moonlight elbows through clouds, sudden as a pop quiz. The stones blush blue. Count them if you dare. 37 visible, 36 hidden under algae's green shag carpet. Your knees creak in solidarity. Some idiot graffitied Kiyoshi. 9 near the 5th pillar cheers. Kiyoshi. We've all been 19 and armed with spray paint. That lantern winks out rude. Your palms sweat. 60-year-old oak planks moan underfoot. A scholar once swore this bridge hums G-sharp during equinoxes. Tonight, it's more like a microwave stying wine. Your left pocket vibrates, phantom notification or rogue cricket. Either way, ignore it. Sudden jasmine, sweet as a text from someone you shouldn't miss. Breathe deep. The scent's been trapped here since EdoPeriod pilgrims dropped petals for safe passage. Your nose wrinkles. Someone should have told them about Febres. Your heel skids on dew-slick stone. Grip the rail. 73 heartbeats since the last bat. Or 74. Math dies here. The river inhales, a wet gasp that lifts hairs on your neck. 2 fireflies blink, Morse code for false hope. Their light dies before you crack the cipher. Historians still argue whether this bridge ever held celebrations or just endless processions of tired feet. Your pinky finds a coin slot in the stone worn smooth by wishful thumbs. Throw in a yen. The water keeps everyone's secrets. The far shore looms a rumor in the dark. Your soul's whisper over quartz veins, the bridge's silver scars. That star's gone now. The lantern stays dark. A fish jumps, sounds like a slapstick punchline. Your last step lands on earth, damp grass underfoot. The bridge exhales, releasing you. Don't look back. The stones remember every face, every faltered breath. But hey, they're polite enough not to mention it. The night air curls around your shoulders, like a silk shawl gone damp with dew. Your fingers brush the bridge's moss-furred rail, each groove in the stone holding stories older than your grandmother's recipe for ginger tonic. Listen close. That hollow whistle through the arches. Not just wind. Ghosts of workmen's songs linger here, those forgotten souls who mixed mortar with crushed river shells and ox blood. Half the stonemasons were barely 15 summers old child laborers shipped from Luoyang when the emperor demanded bridges, not bread. True story. Their palms left echoes in the cement. Lean down. See those faint handprints beneath the moss. One kid's thumbprint still dents the railing. Eternal I was here carved in mineral sweat. Nobody mentions the superstitions. Every third stone hides a copper coin pressed into its underside. Workers did it for luck or madness. Some swore they heard the bridge whisper names after sundown. You grin, probably just the foreman's cheap rice wine talking. The moss squishes under your touch, releasing a green-black perfume of soggy centuries. Historians still argue whether those grooves in the rail were for drainage or threading prayer scrolls. You trail a finger through the velvety mess. Feels like stroking the spine of a wet library book. Chisels clink in the distance, or maybe it's just bats tap dancing on the far pier. Your heel catches a crack in the cobbles. Congratulations, you've just tripped over the exact spot where a royal concubine dropped her jade hairpin in the year 800 and something. Want to dig for treasure? Too late. River mud claimed it 13 lifetimes ago. A breeze sneaks past, carrying phantom whiffs of hot lime and bruised knuckles. Those workmen's ghosts are getting chatty. Legend says they cursed the foreman by baking his fingerprint into the keystone. Next full moon, tap the central arch once. If it hums, he's still trapped there, eternal foreman of shadows. Your thumb traces a zigzag fissure. Turns out 9th century concrete cracks the same way modern sidewalks do. Slow rebellion against time's boots. Up close, the mortar sparkles. They used sticky rice glue. Actual cooked grains kneaded into the mix. Archaeologists found a chunk in the 90s. Some intern ate it. Dozed off for 3 days straight. History's weirdest food coma. The rail dips suddenly. This depression. 17 generations of pilgrims resting their elbows here, sighing over lost loves or empty rice sacks. Their worries seeped into the stone. Press your palm flat. If you're lucky, you'll catch aftershocks of someone's Ming Dynasty heartbreak, the original emo playlist, Stone Edition. Wind plucks at your sleeves again. It's got opinions. That sticky rice mortar quirk, mainland China used it in the Three Gorges Dam restoration. True fact, the past never really clocks out. Across the river, willows sway like drunk historians trying to agree on this bridge's birthday. Was it 772 or 781? Scrolls burned, dates blurred. The stones aren't snitching. Your nail catches on a rough patch, hidden graffiti. Squint. Faint lotus petals scratched by someone who probably died before coffee was cool. They signed it Little Chen. 800 years later, you're both here. Different reasons. Same bridge. His palm print. Your fingerprints. Time's just a ladder leaning against the same stupid moon. A fish leaps. The plop echoes like a pebble dropped in a giant's ear. Downstream, a night heron screeches, probably critiquing your posture. You lean harder on the rail. The moss yields, gives. Almost bouncy. This close, the stone smells like rain trapped in a clay jug. The workmen's ghosts hum a drinking song now. You catch 2 words, silk, spleen. Ancient lyrics make 0 sense. Blame the rice wine. 7 fireflies orbit your head, living LEDs. Their light glints off something copper in the mortar. Another luck coin. 1 of 17 thought to be hidden here. Make a wish. Too late, your breath already blew them out. Moonlight bleeds across the water, liquid mercury, pooling beneath the bridge. Each ripple becomes a quicksilver serpent, sliding toward shores you'll never see. Step closer. The rail's cold bites through your sleeve. That shimmering surface. 9th century women once floated paper lanterns here during the Hungry Ghost Festival. Historians found wax residue on upstream rocks, proof of prayers sent drifting to dead ancestors. A frog croaks. Then 6 more. Their throats pump bass notes that vibrate your shin bones. You're standing in nature's subwoofer. The chorus swells, amphibian monks chanting vespers in swamp Sanskrit. Lean over, do it. Let the moonlight skim your cheeks. That's the same silver that gilded Empress Wu Sessions' ceremonial barges. True fact. She allegedly ordered 3 bridges drowned for casting unlucky shadows during her moonlit cruises. Something glints beneath the surface. Not a fish, too geometric. Your breath fogs the night. Could be a Song Dynasty teacup or a motorcycle mirror tossed by some 20th century jackass. The river keeps both secrets equally. Drop a pebble. Watch rings spread like conspirators fleeing a crime scene. Count the ripples. 7 means good luck. 6 means dinner's overcooked. You get 8. Nobody knows what 8 means. The frogs go quiet. Eerie, isn't it? That sudden silence feels like the river inhaled and forgot to exhale. Downstream, willows dunk their hair in the black water, Gothic mermaids conditioning their split ends. Your shadow stretches across the surface. For 3 seconds, you're 10 feet tall. Then a cloud intervenes. Reality's such a buzzkill. Wade in. Don't. 19th century maps show 9 bodies washed up near Pier 3, souls who mistook stillness for safety. Mud, there's half quicksand. Locals called it the moon's maw. You smirk. Tourism boards definitely left that detail out of pamphlets. Your elbow knocks loose a pebble. It plummets, a tiny suicide, and the river swallows it without judgment. That's the thing about water. It forgives stones faster than people. Frogs resume their croaking. One belches. Classy. A leaf drifts past, charred edges curling like a drunk's pinky finger. Wildfire smoke, ghost of a scholar's burned poetry. The Tang dynasty loved dramatic book burnings. Some monks insisted ashes from sacred texts cured gout. Probably tasted awful with tea. Cold seeps through your souls. The bridges stones hoard chill like misers. Archaeologists found Viking Age coins in similar riverbanks. How'd those get here? Trade routes. Theft. Norsemen making terrible navigational choices. Historians still argue whether it's evidence of pre-Columbian hipster explorers. Moonlight rearranges the water's face. New wrinkles, new lies. That patch there looks like scattered coins. Over here, a shimmering Rorschach blot screaming tax documents. You blink. It's just algae wearing light as a cape. A fish breaks the surface, arcs vanishes. Ripples collide with your shadow's chin. You're being erased in real time. Cheers, nature. Your phone's flashlight could fix this, but that'd be like microwaving a Stradivarius. Some moments need to stay unlit. Wind riffles the water. The reflections fracture into cubist nonsense. Picasso's worst phase. Hold still. Let the pieces realign. Takes 18 seconds. Exactly. Your reflection mocks you with pixelated eyebrows. There, deep in the murk, a spiral shape glows. Ammonite fossil. Lost vinyl record. Last summer, a tourist swore she saw a crocodile's skull grinning up at her. Biologists rolled their eyes. The Yangtze's too cold for crocs. Then again, glaciers once parked here like unwelcome in-laws. Your knees creak as you crouch. Bad idea. The riverbank smells like wet dog and forgotten laundry. 3 fireflies orbit your head, nature's awkward attempt at a halo. Swat them. They're just freelancers working the night shift. The water whispers now. Lean closer. Hearsay has it drowned monks taught carp to recite sutras. You strain your ears. Nope. Just the gurgle of a submerged spring. Or maybe Pepsi Ken's decomposing. progress, baby. That flat rock midstream, perfect for skipping stones. Too bad you've got the arm strength of a drowsy sloth. Instead, count the moonlight fractals. They shift every time clouds cough. Scientists say it's atmospheric diffraction. 8th century poets called it the moon combing its hair. Losers, romantics, something tickles your wrist. Spiderweb, river mist. Either way, you flinch like a startled cat. The frogs laugh. Assholes. Your heartbeat thumps in your ears, West African djembe solo drowning out the night's softer tracks. Blame biology. Blame caffeine. Blame that incident with the vending machine in Kyoto. You rise. Your shadow staggers up too drunk on moonlight. The bridge stretches ahead, still teaching its slow lessons. The river stretches behind, still swallowing questions. Historians will puzzle over this moment centuries from now. They'll debate your shoe prints in the moss, argue about your lost hairpin. For now, you exhale. The night exhales back. The stones yield slightly underfoot, centuries of souls massaging a curve into each slab. Your boots find grooves worn deeper than gun barrels. Someone chiseled these blocks during the Ming Dynasty. Laborers sweating under silk merchant taskmasters, hauling spices toward Beijing. Historians found tea stains in the mortar, probably from exhausted workers' midday breaks. That shallow dip near the railing. Horse hooves dug that trench. 18th century salt smugglers preferred midnight crossings. Their ponies stepped lighter than daytime tax collector steeds. Lean against the rail, no, harder. Feel that faint buzz. The bridge thrums like a cell phone left on vibrate beneath 7 mattresses. 1782 earthquake cracked its spine. Repairs used melted down cannons from a failed rebellion. The iron still remembers gunpowder. Your left foot lands on a smoother patch. Some unlucky soul scrubbed this spot raw. 19th century lovers carved their initials here until her father paid a stonemason to erase the evidence. Workers missed a fleck. Look close. Tiny heart scratched near your big toe. Archaeologists debate whether it's romantic defiance or poor quality control. Step again. The stones sing. Not metaphorically. Actual sound waves throb through your heels. Engineers say it's wind through stress fractures. Mystics insist it's dead pilgrims humming folk songs. You're siding with the mystics tonight. That low G-sharp vibrato sounds suspiciously like a drunk uncle's birthday ditty. Moonlight puddles in the deepest grooves. Follow the shiny patches, nature's breadcrumbs left by oiled cart axles, merchant caravans, greased wheels with pig fat during the Qianlong era. The stench must have been apocalyptic. Lean down there. Fossilized bristles from a camel hair brush caught in a crevice. Some calligraphers' tragedy mid-journey, 3 paces ahead, a barely there labyrinth pattern. Map to nowhere. Board game for bored centuries. In 1992, a grad student claimed it matched constellations from the lost Kushan Empire. His thesis committee laughed until vodka shots kicked in. The rail warmed warms under your palm, surprising for night-cooled stone. Sun cycles bake memories into rock. 19th century physicist Wang Yang swore bridges stored moonlight as residual warmth. Colleagues blamed his opium habit. 3 months later, he discovered Oracle bone script. Coincidence? One slab tilts downward, threshold to nowhere. Press it. It rocks like a playground seesaw. Maintenance logs from 1923 mention an unstable 7th marker stone. Bureaucratic ink fades faster than stonework. Your weight makes the slab emit a crumbly sigh. Apologize under your breath. Etiquette matters, even to limestone. Wind sweeps hair across your face. Same breeze that ruffled Manchu princesses' palanquin curtains as they crossed to summer palaces. Their pearl earrings tinkled complaints these stones, absorbed like rainwater. Kneel. Run fingers over pockmarks, bullet scars from 1937, or pebbles spit out by cartwheels. Conservationists refuse to clean them. Texture tells the truth. They mutter during funding requests. A rough patch snags your sleeve. Centuries of hemp ropes biting stone, while fishermen moored barges. Maritime records list 8 ships named Evening Blossom that sank near here. Their figureheads now crusted with snails and poor life choices. The auction house, Sotheby's sold one's barnacled anchor last year. Some billionaire's lawn ornament, midnight clangs from a distant temple bell. The bridge hums 1 octave lower in response. Monks once strung prayer flags between these railings every 5th lunar month. Typhoon winds shredded them in 1911. Threads floated downriver to patch fishermen's nets. Efficacy of holy fabric sails. The jury's still out. Your shadow merges with the stone stains. Part of you now assuming this bridge archives footprints. Maybe in 3 centuries, students will laser scan this spot. Subject exhibited poor posture. Their papers will scold. Straighten your spine. Too late. That uneven cobble by the left arch. Tudor-era British envoy Thomas Hicks stubbed his toe here in 1799. His diary entry whines for 2 pages. Locals later named a particularly bitter tea blend after him, a hidden roast. Step lighter. Feel the thrumming intensify. Ground-penetrating radar revealed hollow chambers beneath Pillar 4 storage. Smugglers drop point. Revolutionary hidey hole. Archaeologists unearthed rat skeletons, a single jade hairpin, and a suspiciously modern Coke bottle. Field reports called it temporal littering. Your souls recognize the rhythm now. Click-scuff, click-scuff. It mirrors the bridge's secret heartbeat. Historiographers still bicker whether pavement, where patterns qualify as archival records. You're walking through a debate older than this stonework. Pause at the northern arch. Carved lotus flowers frame someone's crude dinosaur doodle. Anachronism, maybe a 19th century kid with a fossil field guide. Or proof that paleontology nerds existed in every era. Smile, your childhood Triceratops sketches weren't wasted. Rain starts needle-fine droplets that speckle the stones. Umbrellas open like black mushrooms down on the riverbank. Stay. Let the drizzle blur time. In 1644, rebel armies marched here under similar mist. Their leather boots left temporary dark spots, evaporated by noon. Unlike your damp shirt collar, which is 100% committed to this poor life choice. The bridge's hum shifts pitch. Maybe the stones are getting comfortable with your weight, or conspiring to rearrange underfoot. Don't overthink it. Just keep tracing the path of silk traders, runaway brides, and that one guy who definitely smuggled exotic parrots in his pantaloons. Your next step lands on a near-flat stone, rare here. Sun Yi Master Mason signed his work here in 1428. Vandals scratched it out during the Cultural Revolution. Full circle now, it's a protected relic. Touch the barely legible characters. Talent outlives politics, even when bruised. Laughter echoes from modern kayakers paddling below. Their headlamps bob like drunken fireflies. The bridge tolerates them. It's endured noisier interlopers. Qing Dynasty demolition crews arrived in 1853 to widen the span. Left after one worker swore the stones screamed when chiseled. Payroll records show they still got overtime. Lean on the rail again. This vibration's different, warmer, like a purring cat. You're either bonding with the architecture or developing a concerning arrhythmia. Check your pulse. Nope. Stones just chatty tonight. Wind carries a paper scrap to your feet, burger wrapper, or ancient poem. Flip it with your shoe. McDonald's logo. Scholars of 2324 will have fun with that artifact. Walk on. The bridge's patience could outweigh empires. Your footsteps, just another layer in the ledger. Your inhale pulls damp stone, and something sweeter, jasmine threading the air like a perfumed conspiracy. Night-blooming varieties planted by Tang Dynasty monks still climb the eastern bank. Historians found ledgers proving they traded the flowers for saffron, botanical bartering that outlasted dynasties. Lean into the scent. That's not just flora, it's the ghost of a 7th century merchant's cologne. Shadows deepen not from clouds, but the bridge itself. Each arch crouches lower as moonlight wanes. Your elbow brushes ivy clinging to the parapet. Those leaves aren't decoration. 9th century engineers planted them to stabilize cracks, medieval duct tape pretending to be decor. Touch a vine. It shrinks like a tickled aristocrat. Beneath your soles, the stone sweats. Or maybe it's your own doubts seeping through leather. 7 generations of carpenters swore this bridge drank their sweat during construction. Their ghostly salt still flavors the mortar. Lick the railing. Don't actually lick the railing. Typhoid Mary's less adventurous cousin could have passed through here. The jasmine thickens, sweet enough to choke a Victorian widow. It's coming from that blackened niche near Pillar 3. Someone wedged a terracotta oil lamp there in 1902. Archaeologists found traces of jasmine essence inside. the original Glade plug-in for haunted real estate. Wind rifles through your pockets, not stealing, just curious. Same gust that fluttered the Silk Road passes of bureaucrats long gone. Their wax seals once dripped onto these stones. Walk slower. That faint stickiness underfoot could be residual diplomacy. A bat squeaks overhead, font of all good decisions. Its grandparents ate mosquitoes that once plagued Empress Dowager Sixie's picnics. Circle complete. You nod approval. The bat does not nod back. Palms flatten on the rail. Vibration patterns shift, Morse code from the bedrock. 3 short pulses too long, or indigestion. Tectonic or gastrointestinal, the message is the same, keep moving. Focus on the southern abutment. See those scratches, not vandalism, well, not recent vandalism. Qing officials tallied salt taxes here with knife nicks. Each groove equals a smuggler's shattered dreams. Count them. Lose track at 84. Imagine the paperwork. Your shadow grows fangs. Moonlight caught mid-metamorphosis. 17th century locals blamed such shapes on fox spirits. Modernists blame sleep deprivation. You blame the suspiciously phallic tree branch overhead. Breathe deep again. The jasmine's gone sour. Turns out night bloomers release ammonia at 3 a.m., floral middle finger to nocturnal sniffers. A biologist friend calls it photosynthetic trolling. You call it bad aromatherapy. Warmth pulses from the central arch. Not residual, something's radiating actual heat. Geologists mapped a limestone vein here in 2003. Thermal scans showed hotspots exactly where you're standing. Coincidence or millennia of stored sunbeams. The stone stays mum. Your left shoelace unravels. Bend to retie it. There, engraved fleur-de-lis near the cobbles. French engineers borrowed the design during 1860s repairs. Original artisans retaliated by carving tiny baguettes nearby. The ultimate cultural appropriation burn. Straighten up too fast. Stars pinwheel, your ancestors did the same dodging Mongol arrows. Steady yourself on the rail, the irons singing again, off-key rendition of Greensleeves or Tinnitus. Toss a mental coin. 3 fireflies orbit your head, persistent little courtiers. A Qing poet compared them to drunken stars on a tavern crawl. His editor changed it to celestial lanterns. History prefers the polite lie. The river exhales mist, the bridge's breath mingling with yours. Frost forming on the railings isn't weather. It's the night's signature on your contract, unsigned but binding. Historians still argue whether these vapors caused the 1453 garrison's phantom coughs. Medical scrolls say pollen, ghost stories say spectral TB. Your pinky grazes a moss patch. It's softer than a concubine's pillow and older. Carbon dating says 12th century. Imagine Genghis Khan's horses missing this snack by mere decades. Vegetation's flex. Suddenly silence. Even the frogs hold their breath. This bridge has rules. remove your hat, bow slightly. No one's watching except maybe that owl. Still, manners matter when trespassing in the past. The stones exhale camphor, preserved in cracks since Ming quarantine protocols. Epidemiologists found traces of plague-fighting herbs in the mortar. Who knew pandemics shaped infrastructure? Moonlight retreats, shadows dissolve into a gray soup. Your watch says 4:17 a.m. The bridge scoffs at Swiss precision. Here, time's measured in cricket chirps and fading starlight. One step cracks louder than others. Guilty. That'll haunt future archaeologists. Subject exhibited reckless ambling. Their papers will tut, apologize to the next slab preemptively. Air shifts. Jasmine surrenders to wet earth. Dig your heel into a rut. Same spot where a 1941 spy dropped a microfilm canister, or maybe where a farmer lost a turnip. Glory's perspective. Pause, close your eyes, let the bridge's hum reset your joints. That's not metaphor, infrasound at 19 hertz syncs with human brainwaves. Scientists say it causes unease. You say free spa treatment, wind plucks at your shirt, invisible fingers checking for loose coins. Legend claims a beggar buried his life savings here in 1123. Treasure maps sold in the 1980s promised riches. Winner got dysentery and a rusty spoon. Final breath before dawn flicks the switch air tasting of burnt toast and riverweed. Somewhere, a bakery's oven yawns awake. The bridge tolerates modernity like an old scholar tolerates pop quizzes. Shadows lean closer now, custodians of all that's unsaid. Their pact requires no oaths. Only the scratch of your souls, adding another footnote to the stone ledger. The willow's sigh becomes a crowd murmur as wings slice the air above. Bats, dozens of them, dip and curl like ink splashed from a calligrapher's nightmare. Their clicks stitch through the branches, a sonar seamstress mending the night's fabric. You freeze. So does the breeze. Mutual awkwardness lingers until a juvenile bat misjudges a turn, wingtip grazing your ear. It chirps what might be bat Cantonese profanity. Tilt your head. Moonlight filters through membranous wings, living stained glass from the Yuan dynasty. Emperors once embroidered bat motifs on robes for luck. 5-clawed dragons got the press, but the bats worked overtime as silent mascots. A museum in Hangzhou displays a 14th century undershirt with 77 embroidered bats. Unofficial record suggests the tailor went cross-eyed. One flyer spirals down, snatching a moth off your collar. Personal pest control with bonus theatrics. The moth's demise sounds like a walnut cracking. You murmur thanks. The bat's ears twitch, tiny radar dishes tuning to your frequency. It vomits a click sequence that might translate to your welcome or tip appreciated. Wind plucks at their flight paths. Wings snap like unfurling scrolls. 9th century monks documented bat migration. Roots here, ink sketches, still preserved in Shaolin's restricted archives. Their notes mention sky mice guiding lost travelers. Historians still argue whether this was metaphor or medieval air traffic control. A 1998 reenactment ended with confused bats and a concussed ornithologist. Your shadow stretches, a Rorschach test bats ignore. They're too busy auditioning for a Tim Burton film. One clings upside down to a pillar, furry judge scoring your midnight saunter. Its nose wrinkles. You're clearly not making the final cut. A feather drifts down, owl's calling card. The bat squadron peels away, evacuation protocols written in DNA. Their exit leaves a vacuum filled by squeaks and your suddenly loud pulse. Check the skies. Nothing. Then a lone straggler dive bombs past, trailing the scent of overripe lychees. Pillar carvings catch moonlight, swirling patterns that look suspiciously like bat genitalia. 18th century restoration. Crews added artistic flair during wine-fueled nights. Local officials called it vandalism. The carvers called it improving biodiversity. Touch the grooves. They're warmer than the surrounding stone, residual mirth from a 900-year-old prank. Ears pop, pressure shifts as the colony returns in force. One drops a gift on your shoulder. Guano. No, a fig seed. Bats replant forests one sugary poop at a time. You flick it into the river, contributing to an ecosystem you don't understand. The water accepts it without comment. A moth lands on your wrist, temporary refugee. Its wings pulse jade green, same shade as Empress Yang's favorite hairpin. History claims she smuggled rebel maps in similar moths' abdomens. Experts think it's folklore. The moth's abdomen does look suspiciously plump. Clapping startles no one, the sound swallowed by velvety dark. 3 bats pivot toward you, wing joints creaking like unoiled hinges. Their echolocation paints you as a meat skeleton holding a flashlight. You are, in cosmic terms, hilariously insignificant. The revelation's oddly comforting. Something crunches underfoot. A discarded cicada shell, crispy relic of a summer debut. Step carefully. The bridge nurses 17 more under its stones, softening their exit come dawn. You apologize to the exoskeleton. Absolution's unlikely, but manners cost nothing. The colony surges westward, a living banner against the stars. Their exodus reveals the moon's new position, slipping behind the highest arch. Time's up, says the cosmos. The bridge concurs. Your shoelace unties itself again. Coincidence? The bat's laughter fades downstream. The untied shoelace flaps, black eel seeking river below. Your toe brushes the first stone. Cold seeps through leather, lichen's freezer burn kiss. 73. The numbers uneven, prime beyond reason. Stubborn as a Tang Dynasty tax collector. Step 2. Moss cushions the scrape of soul on slate. Archaeologists found similar stones in Xi'an, part of a bridge built for Empress Wu's prized Tibetan ponies. Each slab weighed 4 men's weight. Your guidebook claims they sang when trod by virgins. You're suddenly grateful for modern shoes. 3. A fossilized fern winks up carbonized symmetry in the moonlight. Fourth, iron stain blooms like an ink spill, oxidized blood from long ago laborers. Fifth, grooves from rope lashes, this one doubled as a mooring post when floods rose. 6. Your heel slips on dew-slick granite. Historians still argue whether these stones were quarried locally or floated here via canal during Kublai Khan's infrastructure kick. 7th, harbors a chiseled character. U, meaning friendship or invasion, depending on context. 8th, too smooth, centuries of beggars, knees polishing pleas into its surface. 9. Cricket legs tickle your ankle. 10. A carved date, 1683. Repair work commissioned after a most violent agitation of waters, per Qing records. 11. Your shadow impersonates a giraffe. 12. The halfway mark. The air thickens, heavy with unresolved math. 13. Smirks superstitiously. 14. Wears pigeon droppings like ill-advised mascara. 15's edge flakes off crumbly as week-old mantu buns. 16 burns slightly underfoot. 17 hums with embedded quartz, primitive amplifier for the river's gossip. 23. A chipmunk darts across, ruining your count. Start over. 1. Blurred initials, LCZ, vandal, or love-struck poet. 2. Heat radiates upward, geothermal wink from the mantle below. 3. Veins of pyrite glitter, fool's gold for midnight fools. 4's missing corner forms a cat's face silhouette. Blink, and it's just a rock again. 5. Your pulse sinks to step rhythm, prehistoric metronome. 6 vibrates with centipede traffic below. 7 tastes like copper, static cling from last week's storm. 8, 9. 10's pockmarks form Ursa Major if you squint. 11, 12, 13 always unlucky, always unavoidable. 14's Fisher sprouts ghost pepper flowers, according to lunar phase. 15 mocks your hesitation. 16 stubs your toe in retaliation. 29 sleepwalks past. 30 hosts a snail caravan, shells click like mahjong tiles. 31's warmth suggests recent fox nap. 32 cracks under pressure, stone osteoporosis. 33 cradles a maple key helicopter. 50 tongue numb from counting. 51 mimics granite, but petrified wood tests confirm it's imposter sandstone. 52 glows under ultraviolet eyes, lichen's secret rave. 53 tilted slab that trips monks and tourists alike. 70 the final triad. 71 flakes a tooth-shaped fragment, throw it, legend says, to bridge any quarrel. 72's compass, rose points 90 degrees wrong. Historians still argue whether it's sabotage or an inside joke from drunken masons. 73 the keystone, your foot hovers, finality's sweet sting. Touchdown, numbers dissolve, count unraveling like yarn from a tipsy kitten. The bridge exhales, your palm lands on the railing, frosted iron biting flesh with metallic teeth. Rust flakes powder your skin centuries of monsoons, crystallized into orange snow. The metal thrums not from your pulse, but subsurface vibrations. Workers in Ming-era Yunnan mined this ore using controversial fire-quenching techniques, or so museum plaques claim. Local lore swears the rails protect against river spirits when stroked counterclockwise. You humor tradition, 3 passes that leave your fingertips singing. Did Zhou Dynasty foundries really mix crushed bone into their alloys? Your touch dislodges a petrified wasp nest, its hexagonal chambers still reeking of venom and ambition. Ironweed blooms violet in cracks, botanical contortionists thriving on rust and neglect. Each flower's a paradox, delicate petals nourished by decay. Historians still argue whether the railings were safety features or symbolic barriers against hungry ghosts. The answer crumbles like oxidized filings under your thumb. A child's laughter echoes, not yours, not now. Maybe 1912, when schoolgirls tossed copper coins through these scrollwork gaps. Their wishes still tarnish the riverbed, half-formed dreams under algae blankets. Your nail catches a groove, 19 parallel scratches, marking annual flood levels. The deepest notch predates Columbus's birth by 2 lifetimes. Cold seeps deeper, iron's chill bypassing skin to numb marrow. You crouch, spotting mineral tears oozing down the pier. 19th century engineers called this blood sweat, oxidation, weeping from untreated metal. Modern railings would scoff at such melodrama. Wind whistles through perforations, a rusty flute playing the bridge's favorite hymn. It smells of wet pennies and nostalgia. That's when you spot them, thumbprint-sized patches of warmth where others leaned. Ghosts of elbows, perhaps, press your own against the faint heat. The railing suddenly vibrates, a subsonic buzz rising from bedrock. Fault lines murmur through wrought iron like telegraph wires. Your molars ache. Some say Gansu shamans once ringed villages with singing metal to repel invaders. You're half tempted to tap out Morse code, anything to break the silence. Rust coats your tongue now, an involuntary taste test of history's residue. It's bitter, sweeter than the tanguts, iron-enriched war wine, probably. Your phone illuminates crimson streaks, dramatic under lead glare. Post this shot with the caption "Bridge, juice, watch the likes roll in." A beetle trundles across, its shell gleaming like fresh cast steel. You tally its legs, 6, to avoid counting stones again. The railing's pitted surface mirrors your skin, flaws amplified under moonlight. Touch it once more before leaving. This time, it feels less like metal, more like a fossilized heartbeat. Your fingers still buzz from the railing's memory metal thrum when water grabs your ear, droplets pinging stone like a drunk pianist testing keys. Each pier wears a moss beard dripping metronome tears. Plink 1 second. Plunk 2. 7 irregular notes loop, mocking humanity's obsession with clocks. The Han Dynasty built water chronometers precise to the key roughly 14 minutes, but this liquid rhythm defies measurement. A splat lands colder than the others. You glance down. Ripples stutter the moon's reflection into Morse code. Historians still argue whether Nanjing's ancient singing cisterns used such drips to relay wartime messages. Tonight, it just spells chill the hell out in aquatic shorthand. Something glides beneath the surface, shadow without a source. Your breath fogs the rail as you lean. Legends say carp here grow translucent from eating poets' ashes. A fin flicks, burnished silver briefly kissing air. Local teens dare each other to lick the bridge's underbelly for mermaid spit hallucinations. You're not that desperate yet. The orchestra escalates, drips become cymbal splashes from a moss jazz soloist. 5 paces left, water cascades down chainmail algae, clinging to the supports. 16th century hydrology texts describe using such growths to filter drinking water. Tastes better than lead pipes, at least. A pop bursts near your foot, soap bubble fragile. You freeze, another surfaces, then 6 more effervescent domes quivering with reflected starlight. Methane from decomposing reeds, says your inner scientist. Dragon breath whispers the part of you that failed chemistry. Warmth brushes your ankle, a backflow swirl defying the current. EdoPeriod engineers called these river sighs, believed to carry messages from drowned lovers. It tugs your shoelace, playful or possessive. You kick gently, the water sulks away in concentric pouts. Something clicks beneath the waves. Crab, lockjaw clam. The 1896 Yangtze Aquatic Census documented 17 mollusk species here. 8 are extinct, but their shells still hitchhike on fishermen's nets as brittle ghosts. You crouch, sleeve grazing the surface. Cold shocks through linen, a liquid handshake from the deep. 3 carps materialize, their mouths chewing water into fractal patterns. Qing poets rented rafts to write by fish-distorted moonlight. The results were ambienic. A droplet lands on your neck, ice-cold betrayal from the pier above. You glare at the moss beard. It drips again, an insolent you missed. Suddenly, silence. The drip symphony cuts off mid-crescendo. Even the frogs hold their breath. Your ears ring in the vacuum. Then a slurp gurgle from downstream. The bridge's underbelly exhales. Tudor London had Thames belchers, mudflat gas explosions blamed on witchcraft. Your team methane, but appreciate the drama. The first splash returns solitary, defiant. Others follow, hesitant at first. A drip jazz revival blooms, 10 paces downstream. Whirlpools spin maple seeds into tiny driftwood hurricanes. You're counting their rotations, 17, when the fish strikes. A silver slash breaches, arcbow perfect, snatching a moth mid-shimmy. Its ripples radiate outward, warping every reflection. The water smooths slowly, applying liquid Photoshop. Moonlight pens a haiku on the surface. You try reading it, but the river edits each line before you finish. 6 attempts, 0 keepsakes. A final droplet taps your shoulder, parting gift from the moss choir. As you walk, the plinks fade, but the fish's comma-shaped ripple lingers, italicizing the dark. Your shadow stretches thin across the arch's crest, limbs elongated into an inky stilt walker. Air thickens here, each breath feels like sipping broth through a linen filter. 16th century engineers modeled these curves after Vitruvius's manuals, but tweaked the math for moonweight displacement. Never taught in architecture schools. A crime. You press your spine against cold stone. The arch's keystone engraving bites through your shirt. 8 Tudor roses chiseled by a homesick mason, or so tourist pamphlets claim. Local kids swear the flowers bloom scarlet every April Fool's Day. You check. Still moss gray, the river exhales upwards, a humid mist glazing your cheeks. 5 constellations waver in the fog Orion's belt, loosening as stars melt into the haze. Ottoman astronomers mapped these waters, using bridge arches as quadrant instruments, forgot to account for horny fireflies photobombing their sightlines. Something crunches underfoot. Your soul grinds powder-fine gravel into the mortar. 5 centuries of travelers' shoes pulverized these stones. Historians still argue whether pilgrims dropped crushed pearls here as offerings. The dust glitters faintly, could be quartz, could be dental work. Eastward, a bat detaches from the void, wings creaking like a rusty hinge. 32 degrees northwest. 3 fireflies enact a Klein bottle mating ritual. Entomologists haven't caught on yet. Too busy debating if urban light pollution's making them polite. Your elbow knocks loose a pebble, it plummets, paused midair by an updraft. Dangle your hand over the edge, palm kissed by air currents older than Sanskrit. Medieval masons called this the bridge's sigh. Modern engineers call it turbulence from pier alignment. You call it free AC. Moonlight bleeds across the path ahead, pale as a faded cinema screen. 7 etched names surface in the glow graffiti from 1913, 1938, 2020. The 38 inscriptions flare suggests a fountain pen addict mid-manic episode. Westward, ripples fold over themselves like origamibas. 9 spectral carp circle beneath your shadow. 17th century merchants believed fish here carried debt ledgers in their gills. Promissory notes still wash up downstream, waterlogged IOUs signed with octopus ink. A twig snaps behind you, woodrot sharp in the stillness. You spin nothing but the bridge, flexing its stone vertebrae. Roman consuls once executed messengers for delivering bad news on such arches. Procrastination's golden age. Your thumbnail picks at the railing, flakes of vermilion paint stick under the cuticle. 8 layers of repaints since 1602. The original lead-based primer allegedly contained stolen church incense. Safety third. Wind plucks at your left pocket, coins jingle. 9 modern yuan. 1 1947 silver dollar. Tradition says tossing currency here appeases toll spirits. Your inner skeptic suggests it's just the municipality's clever fundraising ploy. Another breath of that broth air, hints of myrrh and diesel. The bridge's mortar secretes mineral oil during temperature drops. 19th century lamplighters harvested it for fuel. Their wives used it as hair tonic. Divorce rates remain unclear. Far below, a bubble bursts with the pitch of a tuning fork. 3 more follow, ascending notes, forming a minor triad. Music theorists insist it's random. You strain to hear the next tone, but the river swallows the encore. Your knees lock, muscles rebelling against stillness. 64 steps taken, 31 to go. Half a pilgrimage made by Qing dynasty debtors fleeing creditors. Most were caught at toll booths, skill issue. A leaf lands on the rail sycamore, vein pattern mirroring the arch above. You flick it. It helicopter twirls into darkness, last seen entering a spiderweb's VIP section. The hour grinds forward, your shadow now a puddle at your feet. Dawn's still distant, but the bridge hums a preemptive lullaby. Subsonic, your molars vibrate. 18th century nuns reportedly levitated during midnight walks here. You check your soles, still grounded. Your knuckle wraps the keystone. Granite answers with a submarine gong. Acousticians say it's hydrologic resonance. You say it's the bridge declaring snack time. A fish breaches, scales shimmering like molten typewriter keys, and the night exhales. The stone warms against your palm, not residual daytime heat, but something deeper. Granite's slow burn, a geological murmur. You press closer, ear to the arch's curve. A rumble vibrates your jawbone, not sound, but memory. 13th century masons mixed mortar with egg whites, exactly 23 eggs per barrel. Their recipe book, looted by Napoleonic troops, probably lining some colonel's dinner plate now. Your breath fogs the railing, condensation tracing faded chisel marks. 3 Latin letters emerge: art, artery, artifact, artist's tag. Historians still argue whether crusaders carved it as a prayer or a contractor's inside joke. The stone flexes, heated debate happening in slow motion beneath your hands. A metallic tang hits your tongue, rust, and something chlorophyll bright. Iron deposits seep through cracks. The bridge's slow bleed. Night guards in 1927 swore the stains spread faster during thunderstorms. You squint, the streaks do look busier. Chlorosis or ghost sweat, your biology degree remains neutral. Wind funnels through the arch, a baritone moan that ruffles your hair. 17th century pamphlets claimed the bridge sang during King George's coronation. Locals blamed drunk starlings. You lean into the gust. It carries the faintest whiff of mutton pies. Coincidence. The stone purrs, noncommittal. Your boothiel scrapes a worn groove, centuries of cartwheels, grinding the same complaint. 3 grooves total tram tracks from a short-lived 1892 trolley line. Axle grease still lingers in the pores of stone. Deep sniff. Don't. Below, water slaps the piers in a rhythmic gasps. The bridge hums two distinct frequencies now. One matches the Earth's Schumann resonance. The other's suspiciously close to a Britney Spears bass line. Acoustic pareidolia. You bite your lip, the stone thrums louder. Fingertips brush a moss patch, it crumbles into glitter. Mica deposits, or scales from a stone dragon's hide. Kids, tailies say the bridge coils around the river at dawn. You check the eastern sky, no reptilian vertebrae yet. A spider suspends itself from your sleeve, 8 eyes, judging your life choices. Its web spans 2 carved lotus flowers. Silk Road merchants etched them for safe passage. The spider vibrates Morse code or tantrum. You offer a knuckle. It retreats, unimpressed. Heat pulses through the railing, 3 waves, then silence. Geologists confirm the bedrock hides a magma chamber. Paranormal forums insist it's the bridge's heartbeat. You count the intervals, Fibonacci sequence, nature's joke, or rock's remembrance. Your shadow merges with the arch, a temporary tattoo on ancient skin. 30-degree tilt, the same angle Byzantine sundials used for winter solstice readings. Time licks its lips. A leaf lands in your collar, crisp, linden-shaped. You crumble it, dust smells of library books and burnt sugar. 19th century ladies scrubbed these stones with linden twigs. Believed it warded off railroad-induced melancholia. You pocket a crumb, can't hurt. The river exhales a wavering star, moonlight atomized into liquid sparks. Your pupils dilate retinas, imprinting a fleeting rune. Tudor children staged plays here with fish-scale costumes. Reviews ranged from damp to prophetically avant-garde. Metal creaks, the railing shifts a micron under your grip. Thermal expansion, or the bridge stretching after a long day. Your palms sweat, suddenly aware you're standing on something that predates gravity's fashion trends. North wind delivers church bells 14 kilometers away, but the arch bends the sound. You hear each bronze clang as a warm coin pressed to your ear. Jesuits did this daily sonic communion. Your agnosticism wavers slightly. Granite groans, a sotto voce soliloquy. Your molars ache in sympathy. 73 stones, each a different density. The lighter ones float during flash floods. Engineers deny this. Photographic evidence, blurry, convenient. Your phone buzzes, a tectonic notification. No service, just the bridge, mirroring your dopamine pathways. 16th century version involved carrier pigeons and rune-carved lentils. Progress is a flat circle. Cheek pressed to stone now, your heartbeat sinks to quarry-deep thumps. Sedimentary layers whisper names: Olaf, Yusra, Way, laborers or lovers. The bridge conflates them, all temporary tenants. One firefly spirals past, emergency flare for a catastrophe too small to see. You track its arc, same trajectory as 1603 comet debris. Archaeologists found shards in the riverbed. Carbon-dated irony. Eyelids dip, the bridge's warmth seeps into your sternum. Roman soldiers napped here mid-march back when the river flowed north to spite the maps. Legions complained about the lullabies. Military records confirm grumpiness eternal. A bat screeches, Doppler curve sharp as a stonemason's chisel. You flinch, the stone steadies you. 10 centuries of flinches archived in its crystal lattice. Comforting, unsettling, both copper coins in a wishing well. Your kneecaps buzz, vibrations rising from the foundations. Hydrophones downstream catch whale songs. The bridge hums a reply, interspecies pen pals. Marine biologists shrug, poets cash checks. Last breath before dawn, lichen glows xenon green for 7 seconds. Photosynthetic party trick. Victorian scientists filed 7 patents trying to harness it, all expired like their owners. The arch releases you, stone cooling, to baseline indifference. You step back 8 heartbeats to recalibrate. The bridge resumes its vigil, dreaming in epochs, measuring your existence in blinks of against geological time. One day, this will be a fossil of a fossil. You blink, the bridge blinks slower. Your retreating footstep catches air, then light. Not fireflies now, but spheres of gold swirling at ankle height, phantom lanterns bobbing echoes of festivals drowned by centuries. EdoPeriod revelers once hung 700 paper lights, here each summer solstice. Municipal records confirm this, alongside complaints about drunk poets clogging the river with ink pots. A child's laughter skitters past, sharp as a pebble across ice. The sound tears, revealing whispers underneath. 47 barrels of rice wine. Someone mutters in archaic merchants' Japanese. Historians still argue whether the carvings on Pier 3 depict trade routes or celestial maps. You crouch. The nearest lantern floats through your thigh, leaving ozone and roasted chestnuts in its wake. 2 spectral carpenters materialize, repairing a railing that hasn't existed since 1632. Their hammers clink in perfect time. Ghost masons, local legends, claim they fix the bridge nightly. Paranormal forums insist they're time-lagged holograms. You clear your throat, they flicker, but keep working. One misses a nail. Occupational hazards of eternity, you guess. Lamplight refracts through unseen paper, projecting tiger stripes across the stones. A shadow puppet show begins. Heroic silhouettes battling a serpentine shape. Program notes burned in some Tokugawa castle fire, probably. Your toes tap. The rhythm matches kabuki foot drums. An actress's ghost spits cherry pits at your shoe. Critics never change. A lantern brushes your wrist. Suddenly you're tasting candied persimmon. Memory or possession. Your tongue catalogs 8 spices banned in 1793 for being too festive. The aftertaste lingers, clove and regret. Another light zips by. This one smells of horseback diplomats and forged treaties. Your sinuses ache with borrowed nostalgia. The railing warps, wood grain shimmering where metal should be. Edo-era bridge versus current stone version temporal bleed. A samurai's lost helmet rolls your way. You kick it, foot connects with nothing. Waseda University reconstructed this armor in 1987, their museums missing one display case. Coincidences coil like smoke. Laughter erupts again, thin as rice paper. The lantern swarm parts to reveal shadow banquets, merchants haggling over ghost spices. A spectral teapot tips over. No one reacts, eternally spilling, eternally ignored. You mimic sipping air. The imaginary tea tastes better than your last matcha latte. Wind riffles the scene, memories disintegrating like wet calligraphy. Two lanterns linger, twins orbiting each other. Lovers pact from 1546. Farmer's Almanac mentions a double suicide pact here. Or maybe twin sisters selling fireworks, records charred in the same fire that took the puppet scripts. Your shadow stretches, pulling an arched bridge of its own across the water. Perfect mirror, except for the head yours tilts quizzically. Stone and shadow apexes meet, a fugue of architecture. Physics whimpers in the corner. You shrug, nightmares about calculus exams resurface, unbidden. A lantern explodes, silent fireworks cascading upward. Ash moths flock to the non-existent heat. They sip light, wings depositing pollen from extinct flowers. One lands on your collar, iridescent dust, spelling beware the 13th step in pre-Meiji script. Too late you're standing on step 14. Math was never your ally. The masons vanish, last hammer strike echoing into a monarch's coronation chant. Your ears pop, pressure drops, as centuries snap back into alignment. Residual glow sticks around, faint aurora clinging to moss like mother of pearl. 19th century botanists swore these patches cured melancholy. Modern allergy tests disagree vehemently. Clouds smother the stars, moonlight reduced to a dull nickel. But the bridge's stolen radiance persists. Granite hoarding stolen photons like a dragon. WITH, Chinese letter. Your shoelace unties itself, spirit mischief, or uneven cobbles. You double knot it, opposing forces in eternal struggle. The last lantern winks out, taking the scent of festival dumplings with it. Your stomach growls, a primal counterpoint to the river's hymn. Cold iron reclaims the night shift. Somewhere downstream, a fish leaps, applause for the departed show. Moonlight sharpens your shadow, grows 7 hands tall before recoiling like snapped elastic. Cobblestones warp into temporary sundials. 9th century surveyors used these natural timekeepers. Their leather-bound journals overflow with lunar math. You pace, each step recalculates angles only bats understand. A bat's squeak triangulates your position, wingbeats stitching constellations into the dark. Your elongated silhouette wavers, hands becoming talons, then sparrows, then nothing. Local legends whisper that night shadows hold unfinished business. Paranormal investigators once measured ectoplasmic density. Here their equipment malfunctioned at 97%. Historians still argue whether the bridge's western arch was built to frame the winter solstice moon. You crouch, your shadow becomes a crouching philosopher, or maybe a particularly pensive toad. Perspective's tricky when dimensions rebel. Granite warms under your palm. The bridge remembers daylight angles like grudges. Your dark twin mimics the pose, except it adds a hat. 17th century woodblock prints show travelers tipping non-existent headwear here. Protocol persists, ghost haberdashery, and all. You step sideways, shadows fork into two possible futures. Left path shimmers, mirroring a bride's pearl-crusted obi. Right path bristles, samurai armor jagged as fractured code. Third path, mathematics seizes up. You retreat, reality clicks back into monochrome. Moonlight hits a sandstone patch, your outline burns electric blue. Temporary. The 1768 Foxfire incident saw these phantom hues panic livestock for weeks. Farmers soothed the moon. Lost, obviously. Your heel catches a shadow seam, time stutters. For 3 breaths, your twin copies arguing over who stepped first. Then the night swallows the paradox. 19th century physicists wrote haiku about this phenomenon. Their journals smell of burned sakura blossoms. A cloud passes, your shadow detaches completely. It beckons toward the railing with fingers too articulate. Myth says a lord's double staged his assassination this way. Forensics disproved it. The blade angle was all wrong. You wave back. It gives a thumbs up. Progress. Reclaiming your silhouette feels like zipping a too tight coat. Knees bend at all the wrong hours. The bridge hums, vibration translating as apologies. Adjustment period required. You mutter that warranties expired 2 centuries ago. The stones cough politely. Starlight returns, your profile sharpens into Art Deco angles, very 1920s, all geometric flair. You strike a pose stolen from a silk advertisement. The shadow adds its own cigarette holder. Anachronisms multiply. The night's improv troupe runs wild. Sudden cloud bank, you're reduced to hazy charcoal smudges. 18th century painters called this God's charcoal technique. Your mother called it bedtime. Both were right. The bridge approves, its own edges blurring into watercolor tolerance. Full moonlight shadow snaps back, crisp, obedient. For now, you take 12 experimental steps. It mirrors you perfectly. Until the 13th. Your foot falls, the silhouette kneels instead. Contracts are for daylight hours. The bridge laughs in trapezoids. The river winks up at you. 100 coppery, eyes glinting through murky gauze. Your shadow leans over the rail, its fingertips stretching toward the silt-stuffed treasury below. These aren't modern yen. The newest coin remembers samurai patrols and steamships. 17th century merchants tossed bronze moan here for safe river passage. Their corroded square holes stare back like hungry mouths. You kneel, water licks your knuckles. The cold shocks, but not like flesh-numbing might. Wet copper stink mixes with algae's green perfume. A carp breaches, its scales flash like a slot machine. Coins churn in the wake, local fisher folk swear eels stash stolen currency in underwater crevices. Makes you wonder, does this bridge have a 401k plan? Historians still argue whether these offerings honored river gods or prepaid ghost fairies. Maybe both. Your pinky grazes a coin's barnacled edge. The water shows your face, cracked into Picasso plains by ripples. Ancient optimism meets modern skepticism. What's your wish worth here? 3 square meals, a week's sleep, a do-over for that haircut. A droplet plinks, your reflection shatters. Silver bubbles rise, tiny drowned galaxies. 17th century ledgers mention a daimyo who tossed his entire purse mid-crossing. Generous? Hardly. He'd just discovered counterfeit coins in his sleeve. Priorities. Light bends. A submerged 500 yen winks like fool's gold. But wait, produce a bento box from 1987. The river's a terrible time capsule. Your shadow mimes tossing a coin. It disappears before hitting the surface. Thrifty ghosts. Duckweed parts, you spot something oval. Not a coin, a ceramic shard wearing centuries of mineral blush. EdoPeriod toilets, sometimes doubled as wishing wells. You decide not to dwell on that. Insect legs skitter across the water, nature's stock ticker. A fish mouth sucks at the surface, its O shape mirroring the coins below. Circular logic. You count 9 visible discs. The 10th demotes itself to pebble. Math unravels here, numerology for the sleep-deprived. Your sleeve brushes the rail. Rust stains bloom like inkblot tests. Someone carved a crude cat face here. Retired stonemasons claim rainy nights make it meow. Tonight, silence plus 1 judgmental tadpole. Moonlight hits a coin cluster. Their edges glow neon green for 3 perfect seconds. Bioluminescent algae stewing. Or maybe the bridge is running a promotion. The 9th century poet Ono no Kamachi wrote about light-struck copper petals. Scholars disagree if it's metaphor or bad river chemistry. Your shadow plucks a reed, phantom fishing rod. It jabs the water. Ripples rearrange coins into a smiley face. Then a frowny face. Then postmodern art. Extend your hand. The reflection gripes about NFTs. You've officially crossed into surreality's toll-free zone. A coin flips vertically, tumbling like a tiny gymnast. Instinct says it's a carp's snout nudge. Conspiracy theorists insist it's magnetic anomalies from buried sword hilts. You vote for fish with commitment issues. Far bank reads rustle, something bulky sinks. Your mind supplies murder weapon. Historical records, laundry bucket, river mud preserves both equally well. Nights like this make archaeologists nervous. 2 coins click together underwater. Their clink arrives seconds late. Delayed gratification. Your great-great-grandmother might have thrown one of these. She loved pachinko parlors. Evolutionary traits skip generations. The wind shifts, coins blur into golden brushstrokes. Monet visits Kyoto on his lunch break. Your shadow attempts a beret. Somewhere, an art major student loans default. You count backwards from 20 yen. Get distracted at 7, technically say, which also means star. Celestial puns sink without ripples. A water strider tap dances across coins, its shadow crisp as a paper cut. Vogue magazine for bugs. 3 ducklings paddle past, want ads for their mom's missing earring. Nature's pawn shop stays open late. Your knees protest. Stone imprints constellations into flesh. 17th century pilgrims complained about the same thing. Their diaries always add, but the view, forgiven by prose. Blink, 1 coin vanishes, either theft by minnow or entropy's blue laws. Wait 10 breaths, it reappears, rotated 90 degrees, aquatic feng shui on overtime. Someone's wedding band glints downstream. The engravings too fuzzy could say forever or free appetizers. Context collapses without eyewitnesses. Your shadow mimes flipping a coin. Heads, you continue. Tails, you continue. The bridge deals in false binaries. Night deepens. Wishes dissolve. The river keeps depositing your reflection interest-free. A bone-chilling hoot cracks the night, the woodshed shiver of a blade unsheathing, mice statues under dried leaves. Your foot hovers mid-step, betrayed by gravity and sore arches. Too loud. Always too loud when the forest holds its breath. The owl pivots its head, 19 vertebrae clicking, like an abacus from hell. Spotlight eyes scan your sins. You're trespassing in a courtroom of pine needles. Legend says the Tokugawa shoguns kept these birds as night watchmen. Practical, who needs guard dogs when you've got winged tax auditors? Historians still argue whether feudal lords trained owls to mimic human whistles. One scroll mentions messengers getting lost in 1632, guided home by ghostly flutes. Your breath fogs the air. The owl's third eyelid blinks, translucent prison bars. A pinecone drops. You jump. Judging by the huff above, that's courtroom laughter. Cold War docs once claimed Soviet spies used owl pellets to smuggle microfilm. No proof, but tonight, you swear this one's tallying your weaknesses. Feathers rustle, wing beats heavy as velvet drapes. The shadow glides low, claws skimming your hair. 17th century superstition says owl-struck scalps never go gray. Lucky you, immortality's a bad haircut away. It perches on the rail, talons denting moss. Moonlight irons its plumage crisp. This judge needs no wig. Field guides name it Ural. You rename it Death's understudy. Far off, a second hoot lower pitch. Morse code, mating call. The Ashikaga shoguns supposedly sent battlefield commands via trained owl pairs. Primary sources burned in the Anin War. Convenient. Your pulse throbs in your eyelids, annoying little metronome. The owl coughs up a pellet. Mice ribs and regret. Nature's Yelp review. You mimic its call, damp kazoo version. It tilts its head, writes you off as terminally unserious. Fair. Below, the river rolls its watery eyes. Footsteps would violate curfew. You shift weight heel to toe, ninja grocery store mode. The owl's pupils dilate. It knows. Kyoto's 1654 noise ordinance fined citizens for nocturnal wooden sandals, violators paid in rice. Your socks stay mercifully silent. Wind riffles feathers. The judge consults its invisible gavel. Verdict, probation, with conditions. No sudden moves, no existential questions after midnight. The bridge becomes a tightrope. Your shadow tries to hide behind a sapling. Coward. 9 seconds of eye contact. The owl yawns, revealing a pink gullet. Psychological warfare works both ways. Something squeaks underground. The owl's head swivels, radar lock. Dinner overrides jurisprudence. It plunges, wings snapping shut like a black umbrella. Leaves explode. DINNER, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. SUCCEEDED. Silence reclaims its throne. You exhale, a 5-second breath that could deflate a hot air balloon. 17th century sleep manuals recommended owl watching for insomnia. Results unverified. The forest exhales. Mice resume their tiny errands. You've passed the audition for now. Dawn's still hours off, but the bridge keeps your tab open. One step, then another. The river yawns. The river's yawn still lingers in your bones as you kneel, palm flat against slick stone. Cold seeps through your jeans. You press your ear to the bridge's flank, granite colder than a tax auditor's smile. At first, nothing. Then, beneath the tick of your wristwatch, a thrum. 2/4 time. Steady as a metronome buried miles underground. Roman engineers once mapped aquifers by lying on temples, cheeks pressed to marble to feel the earth's pulse. You're no Hadrian, but this rhythm feels intentional. Your own heartbeat staggers, tripping over itself like a drunk intern before sinking. The bridge hums approval. A medieval mystic claimed groundwater flowed through Earth's veins. His rivals laughed until he drowned in a dry well. You trace moss lines between cobbles, nature's graffiti spelling, listen harder. The thumping deepens, a bass line older than Bologna's leaning towers. Historians still argue whether Gothic cathedrals stole their vaulted acoustics from underground rivers. The bridge's arch hums, stone throat vibrating with secrets. Your molars buzz. That's either divinity or bad Wi-Fi. Frogs fall silent. Even the breeze holds its breath. You count 16 beats per measure, each tremor loosening pebbles in your skull. Groundwater thumbs granite drums. Your fingertips go numb. Performance review. 3.8 billion years in business. Earth's HR department doesn't do raises. A droplet plinks into the abyss, ripples echoing like sonar pings. Diggers hit springs during the EdoPeriod, claimed they'd pierced a dragon's artery. You half expect the stone to bleed. Instead, a fossilized clamshell dislodges, clattering down the slope. The rhythm skips, one beat hiccups. Your lungs rebel. Ancient Chinese texts warned of disharmonious earth, portent of quakes. You hold still, sweat icing your spine. Then 2 quick pulses. Morse code, binary, some forgotten counting song. A bullfrog croaks, nature's sensor cutting the transmission. Your ear peels off the stone with a suction pop. Dizzy. The river winks, knowing damn well you'll try again tomorrow. Bridge toll, 1 eardrum, slightly bruised. Crouching, you spot ironweed sprouting through mortar, violet defiance in the cracks. Its roots must tap directly into the aquifer's Spotify playlist. You hum back off-key, and for 3 glorious seconds, the vibrations harmonize. A fish leaps, belly flashing silver. The bridge's pulse hesitates, then doubles. Syncopated now, your aorta tries jazz improv. Results mixed. Footsteps approach, or is that the water's echo? 13 paces behind, empty air. 11 ahead, a rat scuttles through moonbeams. The thrumming fades, submerged under cricket static. You rise, knees protesting. The river folds the rhythm into its current lullaby for catfish dreaming of floods. Leaving feels like unplugging from life support. Your shoes squelch. That pop ballad stuck in your head. Gone, replaced by tectonic blues. Last glance back. The bridge pretends to sleep, but you saw it one mossy shiver as you walked away. Earth's heartbeat, still counting. Your breath hangs. A phantom speech bubble frozen mid-confession. Frost creeps up the railings, lacework colder than a diamond engagement ring. You blow harder, cloud shapes spelling fuck this weather in vaporous cursive. It lingers, for once. The night lets your words stick. 18 generations back, your ancestors huddled in Heian period Kyoto, breath clouds mixing, as they burned court documents for warmth. Nobles wrote poems about winter ghosts. You'd sell a kidney for hand warmers. The first ice crystal blooms fractal patterns, a Rorschach test scored by hibernating beetles beneath the stones. That one's obviously a squid. That one, your 3rd grade teacher. Historians still argue whether samurai ice gardens inspired Escher's tessellations. Spoiler, they'd melt first. Your nose hairs crystallize, welcome to nature's worst facial. A bat swoops wingtip, shearing your frozen breath into confetti. Party's over. The bridge wears its frost like chainmail, each icy link forged by breaths you can't take back. A Victorian naturalist swore frost patterns predicted stock markets, died penniless, frozen to a park bench. You sketch a snowflake on the rail, your finger squeaks like chalk on denial. It's crooked. The bridge appreciates the effort. Moonlight hits the ice. Prisms scatter across your boots. Tiny rainbows swarm like bees drunk on cold. You try catching one, palms numb, dignity numbier. Pine resin cracking nearby, trees gossiping about your poor life choices. Should worn wool socks, should have moved to Bali. Too late, frost writes its manifesto across your zippers. That crunching sound, your joints. In Edo-era winters, merchants sold dragons' breath candles, tallow mixed with saltpeter to burn blue. You improvise, rubbing gloved hands until friction almost sparks. Almost. Your shadow grows frostbeard, silvered edges moving out of sync. 10 years from now, you'll misremember this as magic. Tonight, it's hypothermia's screensaver. A frozen spiderweb glistens, ghost auditioning for a chandelier role. You exhale slow, your breath army storming its delicate architecture. Ice surrenders with a sound like cellophane tears. 19th century sailors believed frost fairies stole their toenails. You check yours still attached, unfortunately. The bridge rumbles, either tectonic plates or its stomach laughing. Your phone dies, cold-shamed into a coma. No flashlight, no GPS, just the moon, helicopter parent of the lost. Leaning too close, your eyelashes fuse, blink, and you're winking through icy chains. Medieval knights invented this look, called it winter's flirtation. You call it regret with fringe, the rivers slowed, black syrup oozing under ice armor. Beneath it, carps dream of thermoclines. You envy their indifference. Sudden memory. Grandma's yarn about frost imps stealing children's laughter. You snort, the vapor flicks a middle finger before dissolving. 3 steps forward. Rail patterns shift, ice mimicking braille. You trace it blind. Message translated, turn back, or try better gloves. Old stones terrible at punctuation, teeth chattering. You carve your initials, knife screeching like a dental drill. The ice fills the grooves, instantly jury nullification. That faint jingling, either distant sleigh bells or your fillings threatening mutiny. The bridge stays neutral, Switzerland with better architecture. Last exhale, a perfect smoke ring. It floats, wobbles, dissolves against Orion's belt. Frost patches your knees, nature's passive-aggressive tattoo artist. You turn each boot crunch singing the same note, C-sharp, or existential despair. Frost follows, etching your shadow onto the planks, carbon copy of stubbornness. Halfway across, your nose drips. The droplet freezes midair, tiny comet with delusions of grandeur. You catch it, crystal chandelier for ants. Wind shifts, smelling of coal fires, and Yamamoto's noodle cart 3 valleys over. Stomach growls. Frost ain't edible, lesson relearned. By dawn, all this melts. But right now, under the bridge's icy mantle, your Persephone in reverse. Ascending, not descending. Still hungry. The wind tugs your sleeve, an unseen hand offering passage. No toll booth here, no jingle of copper in your pocket. 14th century ferrymen demanded coins, polished bright, as new moons yours left theirs, tarnished in river mud. You step, the air parts like curtains, held by unseen ushers. Heavy boots lift easier now, as if the bridge itself exhales you forward. Medieval punters used ash poles longer than their own height. You've got nothing but emptiness and trust. A Victorian poet swore fairy wraiths danced here, mistaking cormorant wings for spectral oars. Historians still argue whether these crossings symbolized rebirth or bureaucratic nuisance. Tonight, it's free if you ignore the cost of sanity. Your shadow stretches, ink spill reaching for the far bank. Ghost reeds bow as you pass, their whispers translated by the wind. Heard the one about the sturgeon who married a stopwatch. Took 10 years to say, I do. Nature's comedy hour, audience of one. Cobwebs glisten, strung between rail posts like abandoned harp strings. You pluck one, it hums middle C and disintegrates. Beethoven's Lost Symphony, now with more spider. Something crunches underfoot, pebble or snail shell deciding your karma. 30 paces back, you'd have cared. Now, the night edits your priorities. Cairo's ferrymen once carried mummies across the Nile, papyrus payment receipts tucked between linen wraps. You've got pocket lint and existential dread. The wind approves, pushing harder like an overeager valet. Left foot blisters, right foot numb. Medieval pilgrims called this God's balancing act. You call it bad shoe engineering. A fish leaps silver parabola, writing its will on the river's surface. Inheritance, 8 water fleas and a pebble. His heirs will feud for centuries. Moonlight douses the final stretch, your shadow fuses with the bank's silhouette. Victory, more like temporary ceasefire. The bridge releases its grip, stone fingers uncurling one by one. Cold grass prickles your soles, earth reclaiming its stray. Back in Kyoto, they'd call this moss a welcome mat. Here, it's just itchy. Turn around, the bridge has already forgotten you. Arches yawn empty as a theater after the credits. Somewhere, a bat coughs. You check your pocket's keys, a desiccated mint, unresolved childhood trauma. Standard inventory, the wind rifles through your hair, customs agent seeking contraband dreams. First step inland, soil shifts like flour in a baker's sieve. 8th century monks buried sutras, here paper prayers dissolving into loam. Your contribution, sweat and shaky footprints. Dawn's first bruise colors the horizon, night retreating with looted stars. The bridge fades, a chalk outline where miracles once happened. Plover calls stitch the silence, needle and thread birds mending the sky's hem. You inhale air tastes of turned soil and borrowed time. No coins, no boat, just the stubborn metronome of your pulse. Ferrymen would have charged extra for the existential upgrade. Legs buckle, knees meeting dirt like old enemies at a reunion. The earth whispers through your jeans. Rest, idiot. We'll still be here tomorrow. Above, Orion lowers his bow, celestial hunt complete. You count breaths instead of sheep. 18, 23, 69. Numbers blur, math was never your strong suit. Final thought before sleep drags its net. Tomorrow's bridge will feel different. New frost, same stones, always stones. The last firefly winks out benchmark dot on nature's graph paper. Data point, 1 human crossed. Conclusion, negligible impact. Axis labels, darkness, quiet, forward. Your palm skims the water, night's surface tension, breaking with a liquid shiver. Stars smear, quicksilver constellations dissolving like sugar in tea. The Big Dipper tilts, celestial ladle pouring itself into the abyss. Historians note 12th century monks charted these same stars, inked onto vellum, now crumbling in Kyoto vaults. You're doing the same, fingertip connecting dots in liquid astronomy. Something arcs overhead, a meteor's divorce from the heavens. Victorian stargazers swore falling stars carried fern seeds, invisible spores promising luck. You blink, its afterimage lingers like a match struck behind closed eyes. The river thickens, galactic syrup swirling around submerged rocks. Scoop a handful, starlight leaks through your fingers like luminous honey. Ancient China called this the celestial river, silver highway, where goddesses laundered moonbeams. Your version's murkier, algae, and stardust cocktail. Carp rise, black fins slicing through liquid constellations. Their mouths gulp vacuum cleaner suction, vacuuming spilled Pleiades. One pauses, eyeballing you like a bouncer checking IDs. Historians still argue whether Ptolemy's star maps guided sailors or just looked pretty in libraries. A bat plunges, its silhouette drinking upside down from the galaxy's edge. 3 more follow, dip netting for confused fireflies. Closing time, you mutter. The water blinks, reflected stars winking in unison. Your shadow floats belly up, an inky corpse merging with Ursa Major's paws. 9th century Arab astronomers catalogued Aldanab al Draco, the dragon's tail twisting above. Yours is more of a wet sock. Rot opens your fist, starlight slurry slides between knuckles. 17 drips hit the surface, 17 miniature supernovae. Someone's drinking this tomorrow, farmers downstream cursing glitter in their well water. The moon drags its heel, milky crescents, rippling toward the horizon. Renaissance painters would framed this as divine revelation. You're just glad mosquitoes aren't biting. Cold climbs your calves, water's edge, advancing like a shy conspirator. 16th century Dutch engineers designed star mirror canals, prisms ensnared in hydraulic polders. Nature's version works better, no permits required. A fish breaches, its body sheathed in stolen starlight. Bioluminescent scales. Nah, just Vega's reflection caught mid-plunge. It vanishes, taking Ursa Minor's nose ring with it. Your knees protest, pebbles imprinting chessboard patterns on skin. Should have brought a towel. Should brought common sense. Too late, the Milky Way, already staining your jeans. Above, Cassiopeia reclines, queen of the cosmos sipping comet wine. Below, her reflection frays, ripped silk scarf caught in the current. You hum a lullaby your mother forgot, notes sinking into the water's black ledger. 3 bullfrogs harmonize, basso, profundo, vibrato shaking loose a star cluster. Orion's belt unravels beads rolling under the bridge. Archaeologists found a Babylonian tablet tallying night pearls, still debating if it's poetry or pre-algebra. Wind riffles the galactic pool, creating liquid creases too profound for metaphor. Your breath hitches chest tight with stolen astronomy. Inhale galaxies, Exhale insignificance. Rinse, repeat. An owl declares curfew, feathered magistrate slamming his gavel. Time to go. Time to stay. Time's flowchart branches into irrelevance. You rise stardust, cascading from your sleeves like kimono silk. The river resettles, constellations knitting themselves back into place. One stubborn star clings to your pinky cosmic lint, refusing to brush off. First, step back. Mud sucks at your heel. With possessive intimacy, the bridge watches, granite sentinel tallying departures. Your name's already fading from its ledger. Pluck a fern, leaf edges serrated like galaxy spirals. Press it between pages of unwritten memoirs. Souvenir currency. Evidence. Overhead, the sky pales, celestial dye leaching from fabric. The Milky Way retracts, cosmic mollusk fleeing dawn's knife. You pocket one last shard of darkness, emergency stash for brighter days. Earthbound now, toes curling in dew-slurped grass. The river resumes its charade of being ordinary water. You almost believe it. Somewhere, a fisherman yawns, nets coiled like dormant supernovae. His catch will glitter extra bright at market. No one will ask why. Your palm itches, sticky with evaporated galaxy. Lick it. Too poetic. Wipe it. Too final. You clasp both hands, a silent deal with residual stardust. The eastern horizon bleeds, orange ink soaking through carbon paper. Stars retreat, old men shuffling from a diner booth at closing time. You count survivors, 3, 7, 12 numbers swallowed by light pollution. Last glance back, the bridge hunkers low, playing possum. One wet arch gleams, faint as a dog star in city smog. You turn day's first truck groans on the highway. The night's finale outshone by a McDonald's sign. Exit pursued by a metaphor. You crunch gravel underfoot, each step a decreasing integer in the bridge's rear view. Silence multiplies, 8 cubits of quiet for every yard gained. Your shadow stretches west, a lengthening variable in solitude's unsolvable equation. 9th century mathematician Al-Khwarizmi wrote of balancing scales, unknown quantities poised on either side. You're his reluctant pupil, carrying X and Y in your backpack of midnight souvenirs. The path narrows, shoulder blades brushing cypress guardians. Their roots hum with groundwater arithmetic, subtracting rainfall, adding centuries. A medieval monk once claimed geometry could summon angels. You half believe it. Pentagram patterns in the dirt look suspiciously like raccoon tracks. Your pockets sag, weighted with river stars, and that stubborn fern. Historians still argue whether Egyptian surveyors used advanced math for pyramids or just winged it with ropes. The debate whispers through pines, each needle a tally mark in ancient margins. Wind slides between oaks, forest abacus clicking invisible beads. 17 paces since the bridge's last sigh. 83 until the road. Prime numbers feel more significant somehow, nature's favorite encryption. A spider web glistens, dewdrop coordinates, mapping last night's conquests. Euclid would nod approvingly at its radial precision. You duck, avoiding both geometry and responsibility. Something rustles, dry leaves performing crunchy algebra in the underbrush. Coefficient of mystery equals x over y, where x is probably a squirrel. The equation balances when you speed up. Moonlight bleeds through clouds, fractions of silver on decomposing logs. Your breath fogs, exponential curves dissipating into nothing. Fibonacci would have written sonnets about the spiral of a snail shell in your path. You step over it, preserving both math and mollusk. Stone markers emerge, mossy integers disrupting the trail sequence. 12, 14, 16. Someone skipped 13. Superstitious road crew or data entry error. The forest offers no ANOVA test. Your knees creak, joints solving for torque and regret. Should have stretched when the bridge suggested it. Hindsight's always a perfect square. A ditch looms, Pythagorean nightmare of slope and decay. You hop it, scare quotes around graceful. The hypotenuse approves. Town lights blink, Boolean variables in the valley's code. True, civilization exists. False, you're ready for it. The not operator applies itself to your enthusiasm. Glowworms spark, living decimals in nature's floating point system. Victorian mathematicians tried training them for calculus. Disastrous tenure applications ensued. You salute their tiny light, green radiance, outlasting bad career choices. The road arrives, blacktop eraser, smudging the forest's careful work. Asphalt warmth radiates through thin soles, a different base system. Turn left, it's all base now. Your shadow crumples, compressed algorithm under streetlight scrutiny. The bridge's final gift was subtraction, leaving you lighter by 10,000 stargrams. Velvet darkness clings, derivative of last night's infinity. Second star to the right. Straight on till spreadsheet hell. Keys jingle, premature punctuation in a run-on sentence. The moon taps out, wan smile over stubbled fields. LKH Warisme's heirs are punching time cards somewhere. You envy their defined variables. Dew soaks your cuffs, parentheses around ankles. The equation simplifies here. One bed, zero metaphors, infinite regrets. A truck downshifts, diesel harmonics fouling the quiet. Real-world math always needs rounding up. You approximate home, close enough for jazz and lonely integers. Your souls meet stone warmer than night air should allow. Granite whispering through thin shoe leather. Heat radiates upward, not the sun's dying blush, but something deeper. Historians mapped volcanic arcs beneath these hills, remnants of a time when rock ran liquid. You're standing on cooled rage, the bridge's birth scream fossilized beneath your feet, palm to railing. The vibration isn't imaginary. Basalt veins throb like vestigial muscles, remembering fire. 17th century miners swore they heard bellows, echoes deep in these strata. You press your cheek to the arch, granite's cheekbone, and hear it. Distant thunder, trapped in mineral lungs, a yawn stretching across millennia. Something glints, obsidian flecks wink in moonlight. Ancient Romans called it dragon glass, convinced volcanic stone was scale fragments from mythical beasts. You pocket a shard, emergency anti-fantasy armor. The bridge tolerates your theft, its furnace heart too old for grudges. Air warps above the center span, heat haze mirage, or time's curtain thinning. Legends claim sorcerers once danced here during eruptions. Molten rock their glittering partner. Historians still argue whether volcanic activity influenced early fire worship rituals. Charcoal fragments found in temple ruins suggest they at least RSVP'd. Your sweat beads, an odd comfort. This isn't sun's heat, it's earth remembering how to bleed. Iron-rich minerals fluoresce as you pass, rust blooming in reverse. The railing's pitted surface glows faintly like reheated embers. You're walking across a candlewick, the match struck 900 years ago. Wind rises, hot breath through your hair. It carries whispers of carbon dioxide and forgotten names. A geologist once told you magma chambers hum in B-flat during tremors. You hum a bar stone answers. With sub-bass you feel in molars. Moss crumbles underfoot, dry casualties of geothermal ambition. Patches of bare rock pulse, slow Morse code messages. Decoding them would require lifetimes and asbestos gloves. You settle for tracing the patterns, fingerprints of planetary impatience. The river below steams where it touches bridge pylons. Fish dart through warm currents, sly pilgrims toasting their bellies. 16th century monks brewed tea using these thermal seeps. Their journals mention water boiled by dragon's breath, likely why the Vatican recalled them. Midnight melts across the span, heat-bending moonlight into funhouse mirrors. Your shadow stretches tall and wavering like flame. Step left, it becomes a priestess, tending sacred fires. Step right, a blacksmith hammering star metal. Physics canceled its poetry license after Newton died. Air shimmers, a heat mirage of 3 deer drinking. Their ghostly outlines warp, antlers merging with willow branches. You blink, they're gone. The bridge chuckles, granite grinding on granite. Kneel, pebbles brand warmth into your shins. Press both palms. The stone's pulse syncs with yours. Magma moves a thumb's width per year, glacier speed with napalm intentions. You rise quickly. Something pops, thermal expansion playing percussion with the arch. A crack snakes upward, quartz veins glowing briefly. The bridge remembers being liquid, gravity defeated, form mutable. You envy that flexibility until realizing you're made of older stardust. East wind hits, cool slap across heated skin. Steam curls off your jacket, temporary ghost drawn in humidity. Below, the river rolls its eyes bones, full of reheated jokes. 8 steps remain, each stone hotter than the last. Your soul's protest. City shoes failing geology. 101. Inventors once patented volcanic hiking boots with asbestos soles. Bankruptcy followed along with fascinating lawsuits. The far bank waits, innocently leafy. You glance back. The bridge exhales sulfur-scented nostalgia. Every mountain secretly wants to be a volcano again. Most lack commitment. Edge into cool grass toes, sighing relief. Ground here's normal dirt, humbled by eons of rain. The bridge's warmth lingers in your heels, smuggled magma, cradled by sneakers. Moonlight reveals your palm, obsidian shard glowing like a coal. Toss it back, it clinks against granite. The bridge purrs, sound of a continent turning over in its sleep. Your heel crushes a twig, the snap louder than it should be. Fireflies rise, a constellation detaching from the earth. Gold sparks drift upward like reverse snowfall, living embers refusing to die. They orbit your head, insistent as paparazzi drawn to fading fame. Old Japanese poets called them hataru no gaku, night music written in bioluminescent script. Your center stage, unrehearsed and sweating under their flickering spotlight. One lands on your wrist, pulsing abdomen spilling, chartreuse light. Victorian naturalists once encased fireflies in resin, morbid jewelry, glowing at society balls. The critter flexes its wings, your skin tingles, Frankenstein's prom date vibes. The swarm forms circles, geometry teachers gone feral. Patterns shift, Roman numerals, Celtic knots, a shaky Pythagorean theorem. Historians still argue whether ancient scouts used firefly signals for covert messaging. Easy to imagine legionaries squinting. Does 3 flashes mean Carthage left, or bring more wine? A dozen cluster near your ear. Their light paints the air yellow-green. Cold photons brush your cheek, science kiss with a side of bug. You inhale ozone and damp soil, the scent of untranslated Morse code. Sudden darkness, the entire swarm blinks out. Night rushes back, too heavy, too quiet. Then binary staccato dots and dashes, stuttering across the bridge. Some claim fireflies sink their flashes through quantum entanglement. You're pretty sure they're just gossiping about your posture. 3 fireflies spiral downward, trailing light like comet tails. They hover over your palm, courtiers presenting invisible scrolls. Myths say they carry souls, bargaining for rebirth. You whisper a secret, they flare brighter, either accepting the deal or mocking your breath. Wind gusts, the swarm fractures into fleeing constellations. One rebel stays, glowing bold on your shoulder. In EdoPeriod Japan, samurai wore firefly motifs to symbolize fleeting resolve. Your hitchhiker's light dims, deathbed confession, or performance art finale. Air thickens, the remaining fireflies condense into a halo. Split-second illusion of a crown jagged and too heavy. Medieval alchemists tried distilling their glow into eternal lanterns, resulted in stained hands, and 3 spontaneously combusted labs. The rebel on your shoulder flicks off, gone. Others follow, dousing their lights in unison. Absolute dark swallows the bridge, your retinas paint afterimages. Biologists swear they don't have group decision-making skills. Clearly, They've never attended a Firefly committee meeting. Silence. Then a single flash upstream. 2 more answer radar pings in a WWII submarine flick. The swarm reawakens, streaking toward the river like tracer bullets. You follow, because when glowing insects issue marching orders, sane people obey. Tree roots snag your foot, fireflies wheel back, impatient. Their light reflects in the water, double the chaos. 18th century sailors' red star patterns. You're at the mercy of arthropod chiaroscuro. The lead firefly dips, touches the river's skin. Ripples distort its reflection into a liquid mandala. Suddenly all dive, extinguishing themselves with a martyr's flare. Darkness returns, thick and sticky as regret. Wait, not complete dark. Weak glows pulse below the surface, drowned lanterns in Davy Jones' locker. You kneel, fingertips breaking the water. Cold shocks your nerves, the lights retreat deeper. Ripples fade, your reflection appears, firefly free. The bridge exhales, disappointed parent noise, and your streetlight lonely again. Overhead, real stars wink, celestial substitutes phoning it in. Something brushes your neck, single firefly, resurrected with petty vengeance. It buzzes your ear, insect version of tag, you're it, then rockets skyward, a micro comet, abandoning its human project. Your socks squelch as you stand, river's parting gift. Toward the far bank, a faint glow persists, one firefly orbiting a willow. It spirals the trunk, inscribing ghost words in bark. You don't stay to read them. Behind, the bridge thrums, granite remembering it once 8 stars. You walk, damp footprints evaporating faster than firefly lifespans. The night continues, unconcerned with crowns that never fit. 20 steps taken, your left foot heavier than guilt. The bridge's spine creaks, a carp's backbone flexing under centuries. You pause, midnight pools liquid around your ankles. Time here isn't linear. It's a drunk spider's web. 1 step forward, 1742. Moss cushions your heel, same patches Dutch engineers imported for canal houses. Your right foot lands, 1904. Railings hum with phantom trolley wires, Bombay's trams still running in the iron. Historians still argue whether medieval masons laced mortar with egg whites or spite. Step 3, echoes split. 1 footfall here, another matching it on Pont Neuf. That Parisian cobblestone kissed by revolutionaries and pickpockets. It's you, synchronous twin, pacing parallel timelines. The bridge shivers, shared memory of weight. 7 steps, you're ankle deep in 1999. A disco ball spins under the water, reflected glimmers of Y2K panic. Your shoelace comes undone, senior prom flashback with bonus existential dread. Breathe slow, centuries compress into lungfuls. 15 steps, your shadow warps. It's taller now, Victorian top hat, plague doctor mask, TikTok influencer arms, time layers like cheap wallpaper. Midnight clings, a film of motor oil on a puddle. Air thickens, your wristwatch corrodes backward. Rolex turns to sundial, sundial to water clock to a rooster's crow. You're walking through Venice's bridge of sighs, without the trial, stone weeping, condensed, tourist sweat. 18. Steps your knees creak, octogenarian jazz. The rail sprouts lichen that tastes like Eisenhower-era Jell-O salad. Lean too long, and you'll fuse with the bridge, another weather stain for future pedestrians to avoid. 19. Cellar doors groan beneath your feet. Prague's Charles Bridge once stored 300 barrels of wine during sieges. Your socks ferment, toes marinating in Phantom Merlot. Don't lick the railing. 20. The year flips to now scented fog. But wait, did you miscount? The moon's a harsh accountant. Recheck your souls, each step a ledger entry. 14th century, here, great plague fleas, hitching rides on your laces. Time puddles splash with every shift. Scoop some up, it evaporates faster than payday resolve. 7 years per droplet, if the legends hold. Tilt your head, a droplet slides into your ear. Congratulations, you've just absorbed the Bronze Age collapse. Your shadow peels off, ambitious intern staging a coup. It walks ahead, consulting an hourglass full of quicksand. The real you, stuck in molasses time, every blink lasting a tax season. Light fractures, dawn's paparazzi breaching the horizon. The bridge groans, party guest, realizing the time. Granite yawns, a continental plate stretching. 1 step left, your muscles scream Chaucer-era profanity. Moss murmurs, advice. It's heard 900 years of pedestrians' excuses. Plant the heel first, it wheezes. Pretend you're crushing fascism. The final step floats, quicksand paradox. Commit fully and sink, hesitate and petrify. Edinburgh's South Bridge hides plague victims in its vaults, their coughs still humid in the stone. You wonder if future ankles will feel your indecision. Air crackles, a billion sundials align. Step. Gravity shifts. The bridge exhales 12 generations of dust. Your footprint merges with Ottoman boots and QR code tattoos. Time releases you, its jaws sticky with rejected chronologies. Ahead the toll booth of tomorrow, exact change required. A spider drops onto your shoulder, 8-legged concierge. Tip, it asks, waving thread at the moon. You offer a skin flake, universal currency. It's enough. Behind, the bridge folds its years, origami crane returning to paper. Each crease holds a lie you told about being 5 minutes away. Forgive yourself, the stones already have. Dawn licks the horizon's saliva of chronology. You walk faster times, adhesive weakening with each stride. 21, 22, 23. Numbers blur into gasoline rainbows on pavement. The bridge shrinks, a folded moth wing in the rear view. 1 firefly circles back, holdout against daytime. Lands on your pinky, pulsing semaphore. They're still counting, it flashes. Always counting. You flick it toward the river, chronology's problem now. The water swallows the light, digestive juices of infinity doing their work. Your socks dry via espresso machine efficiency. Ahead, the fog parts like bored theater curtains. Behind the bridge resumes its poker face, cards held close, jokers wild, aces buried in the footings. You've walked through its bluff. The spider tugs your ear. The bill, it whispers. Payable in moments you'll pretend to forget. You nod. Every bridge takes its cut. Already, last Tuesday's breakfast fades, waffles, or regret. Both syrup sticky. Wind carries a footnote. Mary King's close residence walled alive during outbreaks. Their whispers taste like locked-in syndrome. You pick up the pace. Modern plague, denier fleeing history's echo. Step 59. You're just a tourist again. Time snaps taut rubber band to the face. Reality resumes its shoddy customer service. The bridge, already drafting its Yelp review 2 stars, atmospheric but pushy. Your phone buzzes, still on airplane mode. 7 texts from yesterday arrive, fossilized emergencies. Respond with bridge wisdom. Seen worse. Bring better mortar. A single firefly drifts into your coffee cup. Next dawn, post-it note from the past. You stir counterclockwise, undoing its message. The cream swirls into yesterday's, whether light rain, 30% chance of epiphanies. Sip. Swallow. The bridge gets its cut. The carp breaches, liquid obsidian, parting for a mouth, shaped like a priest's censer. You kneel, ripples distorting your reflection into a funhouse prophecy. Its lips purse, blowing bubble script that spells maybe next Tuesday in aquatic braille. 12th century Mesopotamians, red goat livers. You get this algae-inked Delphic oracle. A gill flares, membrane thinner than parchment from Gutenberg's first Bible. You murmur the universal question, career, love, when to refill antidepressants. The fish responds with 3 bubbles and a cheekbone glare. Historians still argue whether Venetian fishmongers doubled as spy networks during Renaissance intrigue. You're less conflicted this carps, definitely judging your life choices. A scale drifts up, tarnished silver dollar, flipped by a bored Poseidon. Catch it edges sharp as Luther's theses. Leaning closer, you see tomorrow's weather storm clouds shaped like missed deadlines. Your inverted face wavers, chins multiplied, eyebrows pixelated. The carp snaps its jaws, silent punchline to evolution's longest joke. Water dribbles down your wrist, staining like connoisseur kombucha. Medieval monks claimed carp could predict earthquakes. This one just preens. Its whiskers twitch, tuning forks, resonating with the river's subsonic grumbles. You ask about that unresolved argument from March. The fish yawns laconic algae. Cold seeps through your jeans, a reminder of 1816's volcanic winter. 1815 had the potato famine. 1816 had Mary Shelley's monster. Your knees channel both tragedies. When the water clears, the reflection shows a dentist appointment. The carp flicks its tail, sending ripples that erase next Thursday. A dragonfly dies midair, tragic backstory written in iridescent wing shards. You consider the futility, divining the future in a world where pigeons outvote humans. 19th century spiritualists used hydromancy. They'd charge $5 per murky vision. You're getting the family discount, free, with existential resignation. The fish dive ease, leaving a vortex that hums Radiohead's Karma Police. Fitting, you pocket the scale insurance against robot uprisings or awkward weddings. Rising, your spine imitates a question mark. The water stills its surface, now showing Pluto's demotion ceremony. Too late, the carps moved on to trolling Athenian philosophers. A leaf floats by Maple Rorschach test, scored by nihilists. You squint. Is that your middle school bully operating a food truck? The river says yes, charges extra for guacamole and closure. Night deepens, or maybe your eyelids do. Crickets launch into a dirge for daylight. Somewhere, a historian's arguing about Phoenician mackerel tax codes. You walk away, the bridge arching its spine like a cat who knows where Schrödinger hid the body. Moonlight bends the bridge's curve into a stone lyre, each shadow a taut string waiting. You pause. The arch hums a note that bypasses ears to rattle molars. Wind plucks the structure, subsonic tones resonating with the fillings in your left molar. Roman engineers used volcanic ash in concrete. This arch still stands centuries after their empire crumbled. Your shadow becomes the bridge's plectrum, stretching across weathered stone to pluck vibrations older than written music. A 1930s archaeologist swore he heard Bach here. His journals scribbled margin reads, Sicilianos, Sicilianos. You hum middle C, the bridge answers with a B-flat, tinged with loam and regret. Historians still argue whether ancient arches channeled sound or just looked pretty. Your souls vibrate either way. The effect's better than that Brooklyn bar's open mic night. Granite murmurs of celestial mechanics, keystones redistributing weight, and moonlight in equal measure. The night feels tuned, a cosmic guitar string stretched between dusk and dawn. You lean, your elbow becomes a capo on the parapet. The chord changes minor key now, with a tempo matching your pulses stumble. Some claim medieval masons baked choirboy bones into mortar for resonance. Tonight, you almost believe it. The air thrums like a therminist's fever dream. Nikola Tesla supposedly designed bridges that sang "This One's Doing Karaoke" to a satellite's microwave hum. Tilt your head. The arch's curve mirrors the moon's grin. Or is it sneering? Hard to tell with celestial bodies. They're all gas and drama. 5 moths orbit your head, living metronomes, keeping a rhythmic time. Their wings slice moonlight into sheet music only spiders can read. You count 89 steps remaining, each stone a bone-white key in the bridge's clavichord. Press 1. It sighs a warm F-sharp that smells of freshly split cedar. A tour guide once whispered that violins were modeled after arched bridges. You fake a bow stroke. The night answers with a screech owl's vibrato. 3 coins in the river flip like sheet music, their tarnished faces glinting bass clefs. Cold radiates upward, the stones hoarding winters, chill like a miser with pickled onions. Your breath arcs, a visible note joining the nocturne. 17 fireflies blink in counterpoint, Morse code for this'll look crazy in the morning. The wind shifts, an unseen bow sawing across moonbeams. Your hair stands like piano wires, anticipating the maestro's tap. Somewhere, a dog howls in diminished seventh, perfect pitch for suburban nuisance complaints. Lean harder, the keystone groans like a cello nudged off its stand. 800 years ago, pilgrims crossed here singing Gregorian chants. Their ghostly vibrato lingers in the mortar. You attempt a hymn, the bridge transposes it into blues scale. That Soviet scientist who tried recording earth music via fault lines. This bridge does it better, no seismographs needed. Your teeth resonate, fillings harmonizing with subterranean aquifers waltzing through limestone. Moon dips, the lyre loses tension. Your shadow retracts like a snapped string. Dawn's first yawn tints the east yellow teeth light, dissolving the nocturne. The arch yawns back, a stone mouth releasing its captive cord. You walk off, vibrating, human tuning fork, still humming what the river taught. Dew pearls cling to every surface, each drop a liquid lens, magnifying the bridge's final secret. Spider silk glistens between stone balusters, web-strung galaxies, quivering with your exhalation. Morning's first breath lifts the bridge's spine. A stone dragon unfurling after centuries of crouching. Medieval masons mixed egg whites into mortar for bridges like this. Your nose still catches albumins, ghostly, tang 9 centuries later. Gravity shifts. The structure settles like an old man, adjusting his pajamas. 3 strands of web snap as you blink, time-lapse photography in real time. Local lore claims master builders followed spiderwebs for structural inspiration. Arachnid architects paid in trapped moonlight. You cough. A puff of air ignites dew motes into prismatic fireworks. The bridge's sigh carries whispers of Phoenician glassmakers and their cobalt poetry. Historians still argue whether these carvings guided rainwater or coded messages for star-navigating pilgrims. Your fingernail traces a groove. It hums the opening bars of a lullaby lost when Rome burned. 73 cobwebs flutter in unison, nature's abacus, counting down the night's final moments. A 19th century bishop wrote of stone, lungs exhaling heresies at dawn. They burned his diary, but not the idea. Your souls stick slightly, resin from a million dawns, oozing through microscopic stone pores. That metallic tang, either centuries of oxidized iron bars or blood from a stonemason's thumbprint. Fireflies retreat, their lanterns dimming like closed-eye afterimages. You inhale deeply, 900 years of trapped night. Air floods your capillaries. It tastes of unwashed wool tunics and the burnt honey of extinguished altar candles. The bridge shudders, a great beast releasing prey it decided not to eat. 18 spiderlings balloon away on silk threads, parachuting into a world where bridges are temporary things. Your shadow stretches westward, reluctant to abandon its nocturnal kingdom. Cool vapor rises from the river, the water's final aria condensed into fog notes. That persistent myth about Venetian engineers embedding aqueduct blueprints in spider eggs, almost plausible here, the webs shimmer with perfect geometric spite. Your elbow brushes a railing, lichen crumbles into hieroglyphic dust against your sleeve. Crows argue in the distance, feathered lawyers disputing ownership of the coming sunrise. One last dewdrop slides down a spider's retreating leg, liquid resume of a night well spun. The air sticks in your lungs, vintage 1123 AD, with top notes of owl pellets and forgotten promises. Granite cracks pop like arthritic knuckles. Expansion joints groaning as sunlight infiltrates the east. You exhale slowly, your breath ripples 7 cobwebs into chord progressions only bats could love. 9 snails ascend the upstream pillar, their trails etching silver sonatas into the damp. Dawn's fingers pry apart the stone seams, light seeping through like truth through bad excuses. The central keystone drips, one perfect tear, magnifying the spider who started it all. You count 11 heartbeats, the exact number needed to dissolve the bridge's dream of flight. Chilled mortar contracts, a staccato rhythm of microcollapses echoing up your vertebrae. 3 mayflies hatch midair, ephemeral muses composing their life's work in the time it takes you to blink. Your knees creak in sympathy with the aging stone, geriatric solidarity at quarter to sunrise. The river exhales its night chill, a mist that rewrites your eyebrows in braille. One stubborn shadow clings to your heels, ghost of the crossing you'll never fully complete. Spider silk snaps taut, a final high C vibrating in your sinus cavities. Sunlight strikes the web, prism light tattoos the stones with promises the day will break. You surrender to dawn's inevitability. Crossing the web becomes memory before your next heartbeat. Your soles find grooves worn smooth, a braille map scribed by 10,000 seeking feet. Moonlight bleaches the stones to bone white, each crack aligning with constellations drowned by city lights. Roman engineers plotted roads by starlight, each cobble nudged into alignment with Ursa Major's faded grin. Your left boot catches on a depression, Margaret of York's footprint from 1483. If you believe tavern tailies, cracked mortar cradles stardust, older than the bridge itself, cosmic grout binding human ambition to bedrock. 12th century Welsh monks apparently staggered home along Ursa Minor's tail, drunken star-stepping that somehow became holy doctrine. You pivot toes connecting pockmarks that mirror Orion's belt before light pollution neutered the sky. A fossilized snail shell winks up, clockmaker's apprentice lost in 1602. If the graffiti's to be trusted, historians still argue whether these patterns charted trade routes or coded warnings about the next plague outbreak. Your thumbnail traces a groove that forks unexpectedly boots, forgotten third arm, or a stonemason's bourbon-fueled detour. 87 stones glow faintly, phosphorescent lichen, or trapped starlight, depending on who's hawking the guidebook. That warm patch underfoot, either residual heat from blacksmith's curses or a dormant lay, lines astral heartburn. Centipedes flee your shadow, living semicolons, disrupting the narrative etched in worn granite. You inhale air tastes of extinguished torches and the musk of astronomer monks who mapped these stones. Local legends whisper of a stone near York that hums when Polaris winks. Governor's band midnight pilgrimages after too many sleepwalkers fell in the ooze. 3 pebbles dislodge, miniature meteorites plunging toward the river's indifferent embrace. Dutch engineers swore star-lined roads prevented frost heave. Never mind those Amsterdam canals that froze anyway. Your knee protests a crouch, age, and irony creaking in harmony. That sticky patch, medieval tar used for celestial adhesives, or just tree sap defying entropy. The Norwegians had it right, burying ships under roads so stars could sail eternally west. Your pinky grazes a depression worn by rope ties, 10th century astrologers mooring their egos to fixed points. 8 spiders scuttle from your shadow, cosmic janitors, erasing footprints before dawn's audit. Crickets chirp coordinates, their rhythm matching the pulsar frequency carved into St. Cuthbert's toe bone. You sidestep a quartz-flecked stone. Pilgrims believed it focused moonlight into God's personal interrogation beam. 17 breaths ago, this path led somewhere ordinary. Now it hums with turned earth memories. That myth about Scottish masons hiding a galaxy in Perthshire cobbles. Less fun since they found actual meteorite fragments in the mortar. Your heel grinds a pebble, 5 centuries of foot traffic reduced to geological confetti. North Star glimmers, its light bounced off 7 mirrors before hitting your retina. 16 frogs croak in Canis Major's rough direction, amateur astronomers botching the celestial chorus. You pause at the bridge's Scorpius cluster, stones allegedly quarried from a crater in Gaul. Touch one, it vibrates with volcanic tantrums, cooled into obedient geometry. A bat swoops, wingtip skimming the Pleiades stone, where lovelorn girls once placed oak galls. Your shadow now stretches east, rebellious silhouette, trying to rewind the star map. 23 gusts nudge you forward, each wind a page torn from Newton's star charts. Press your ear to the stones. The bridge whispers its final secret in the language of dead stars. You exit the constellation, toes still buzzing with celestial static. The frogs chorus phrase at the edges, each croak dissolving like sugar cubes in dark tea. You count 17 final gulps of air, green throats, collapsing under the weight of their own vibrato. Beside your foot, a pebble shivers, its quartz veins pulsing in time with the retreating amphibian hymns. History whispers that during the Great Frost of 1709, French peasants found frogs frozen mid-croak, icy statues still shaped like song. You half expect their ghost notes to rise from the riverbank's mud, but the night stays hushed. Crickets seize the stage, their chirps precise as metronomes set too fast. 33 legs rub in unison behind a rotting log, string section tuning up for the graveyard shift. A lone bullfrog protests this coup, his baritone blurt swallowed by the creek's indifferent gurgle. Victorian naturalists once claimed frog choruses hid coded messages, used wax cylinders to prove it until their labs reeked of pond scum. You smirk, imagining tweed-clad men deciphering ribbits as enemy ciphers. The river still hums its surface tension, warping those last amphibian echoes into liquid umber. Dip your hand, the water clings like chilled glycerin, imprinting your skin with subaquatic memories. Historians still argue whether croak patterns match lunar phases or just human heartbeats slowed by dusk. Your pulse ticks 90, too rapid for either theory, as minnows kiss your submerged fingertips. Twilight's palette shift turns reeds into cutout silhouettes, paper scenery in a child's shadow puppet show. 3 fireflies blink Morse code above the shallows, their signals unanswered. Beneath a half-sunken log, something gulps. Moonlight betrays a whiskered snout, water rat or otter. The debate ends when ripples erase all evidence. You inhale marsh gas and wet limestone, a scent older than Deuteronomy. That vibration underfoot, not the bridge now, the river itself thrumming through bedrock like a bass string plucked by giants. 17 steps downstream, the water braids around a boulder, its face scarred by Norse runes, and 92 flood levels. Touch the carvings, your nail catches on Thor's hammer etched over a crudely drawn frog. Cattails rattle papery scolds as your sleeve brushes past. The cricket symphony crests, 800 wings rasping through a movement titled Please Ignore the Owls. One audacious tree frog interjects, a jazzy triplet drowned by stricter rhythms. Herpetologists in Queensland swear certain toads sync their mating calls with satellite data, though you suspect questionable use of grant money. Your shadow stretches across the shallows. Inkblot, Rorschach, the minnows dart through. Kneel, and the water warps your reflection into something amphibious, gills flaring, pupils widening into obsidian pools. Blink, and it's just you again, plus a mayfly conducting its final waltz across your cheek. The last frog falls silent, a Prince Albert's river toad, if you're feeling poetic, though it's probably just a common marsh dweller. Its final croak lingers, a green-bellied vibration the creek carries east toward warmer estuaries. You rise, brushing muck from your knees as the cricket's tempo shifts. Their chords now mimic rotary phones, spinning dial tones echoing through honeycombed banks. Across the water, willows whisper grievances about the noise. A fish leaps, silver parenthesis, closing around some piscine punchline. You count 7 concentric ripples before the river steadies itself, liquid parchment, smoothed for the night's next sonnet. Moonlight fractures on the surface, 1,000 bone-white shards knitting themselves whole again. The air thickens with spores and the musk of surrendering amphibians. Somewhere downstream, a bottle rolls over rocks, its message long since dissolved by rainwater and resignation. Your throat constricts not from sorrow, but pheromones released when frogs abandon their posts. Biology's cruel joke, making exits smell like grief. The first mosquito of the new regime lands on your wrist. You let it drink, tribute paid to the incoming administration. Crickets crescendo, then halt, a 5-second void where the universe forgets to breathe. In that stillness, the river exhales its captured note, a subsonic hum that vibrates your molars. It tastes of algae and lightning-struck oak. This sound, a lullaby hummed through earth's marrow. The water holds that green resonance as you turn away, one final thrum seeping through your shoe soles. Behind you, the creek folds the note into its current, a crumpled love letter dissolving at the edges. Your left heel crunches shale, the first grain of solid earth beyond the bridge's reach. Soil shifts, a reluctant handshake from the far shore. That vibration humming through your soles fades, stone relinquishing its centuries-old grip. Roman engineers would have buried a coin here, copper tribute, to appease river gods when their arches spanned treacherous waters. You pat your pocket instinctively, modernity's empty pantomime of piety. Wind frisks your collar, playful thief stealing bridge scent from your clothes. Turn, and the structure looms, its arches drooping like the spine of some petrified beast. 16 paces back, an easy sprint if the planks collapse, yet something pins your feet, gravity of departure or magnetic guilt. Historians still argue whether medieval masons aligned bridges with constellations, or just the shortest path between taverns. The North Star winks through eastern pillars, coincidence, or Stone Age GPS. Mud sucks at your shoe, 60% clay, by the cold ooze between your toes. 1943 soil samples proved this bank grew the plumpest leeks in 3 counties. War-era victory gardens, now buried under blackberry thorns. You sniff, vegetal rot undercuts the river's metallic tang. 3 fireflies bob ahead, ushers guiding you toward what? A willow, a badger den, the universe's least urgent treasure hunt. Granite mutters behind you, low sea sharp vibrating molars. The bridge hasn't forgotten your weight, how your stride matched its secret heartbeat. Touch the nearest tree, sap sticks your fingers. Sycamores here grow twisted from decades of leaning away from the bridge's shadow. Arborists whisper about root systems, avoiding buried artifacts, though you're guessing it's just groundwater envy. 1 step inland, moss muffles your footfall. 2 steps, your shadow detaches from the bridge's silhouette, orphaned. 3, a twig snaps like a wishbone. New Jersey tourists swore this shore spawned glow-in-the-dark mushrooms after spring rains. You spot only ordinary toadstools, their umbrellas closed tight against the dry night. Kneel, dirt packs under your nails, rich with rust, and decomposed maple helicopters. The air tastes different here. Absence of wet stone on your tongue, replaced by decomposing ferns and squirrel-hoarded acorns. You peel a birch curl, papery fossil of last summer's growth. 1847 graffiti hides beneath, initials inside a heart, knife carved and clogged with lichen. Romance or vandalism. Time renders them equally quaint. Halfway up the embankment, your calf muscle twinges, punishment for ignoring the bridges. No re-entry policy. 7 raccoon prints dent the mud, direction arrow straight to a hollow log. Inside, something rustles, tenant objecting to your metaphysical eviction. Notice. Your breath fogs a spider web, the arachnid retreating, silk quivering like a theremin's lament. Moonlight filters through oaks, dappling the ground with inverse leopard spots. Turn, the bridge watches through its cobweb veil. 37 visible mortar lines from here, each crevice a prison for sparrow feathers and lost prayers. Press your palm to a trunk, bark imitates reptilian scales. Experts think druids danced here during lunar eclipses, though evidence conveniently washed downstream every thaw. Frogs resume their aria upstream, belated reviews of your performance. You inhale, expecting closure, getting wood smoke instead. Some campers dying fire 3 hills over, or the ghost of charcoal burners from the Tudor payroll. Either way, it's paprika and nostalgia in your sinuses. Your stomach growls, sacrilegious counterpoint to the night's hymn. 4 stones skip your periphery, 2 field mice playing tag with a hazelnut. Their squeaks mirror the bridge's iron fittings cooling, same pitch, smaller lungs. You count 13 heartbeats before they vanish into ferns. Ancient game of hide-and-seek millennia, older than mortar. One final glance back, the bridge hunkers lower now, silt reclaiming its western footings. Your right pocket holds a pebble stolen from midpoint warm as a dove's egg. Guilty souvenir or sacred relic. The trees don't care. They've seen 10,000 pilgrims pocket 10,000 stones. Crickets here chirp a quarter tone higher, accent altered by different dirt. Kneel, pebbles imprint your kneecaps. Underhand's archipelago of tiny bruises blooms, memento of shorelines and stubbornness. Stand too fast, the world tilts, blending bridge and trees into a watercolor smear. Steady yourself against a trunk. Its sap seizes your fingerprints. Casual biometric theft. Northward, a train horn mourns sound, diluted by 26 miles of hills. The bridge remains gatekeeper turned spectator. Its arches frame a star cluster, the Maya, called the Heron's Nest. Or so claimed a 1948 anthropology paper, retracted for poetic license. You squint, stars refuse to confirm or deny. Walk east, blackberries claw your sleeve, bartering fabric for future jam. 30 steps in, the ground firms, clay yielding to flint-studded path. Each click of heel on stone chips away the bridge's hold, audit of independence. Your shadow stretches, testing its new freedom. Twist a maple key between thumb and forefinger. Helicopter spin predicting something. Childhood superstitions die hard, even when you know botany. The seed sails, arcing over ferns toward the bridge's domain. Conditional surrender. 3 fox cubs scatter at your approach, russet confetti blown into underbrush. Their den exhales musk and leftover gooseberries, landlord's signature scent. You share 78% DNA with those fleeting tales, cousins fleeing the primate with the flashlight eyes. When you finally stop back against an oak older than calendars, the bridge persists in periphery vision, patient as a stopped clock, certain its hour will come again. Your lungs sink to this new biome, inhaling mildew and phosphorus, exhaling bridge dust and what if. The first midge swarm arrives, humming critique of your life choices. You unstick shirt from spine, fabric peeling like tape from sunburn. That copper taste, blood from biting your cheek mid-yawn, metallic tang of transition. Somewhere, a fish breaches, liquid applause for the bridge's silent vigil. Your socks sag with stolen mud, each step 2 ounces heavier. 19 gray moths orbit your head pilots, mistaking sweat for nectar. Swatting seems rude, you're the tourist here. Dawn's first lie creeps east, indigo dilute to watered ink. The bridge shrinks behind you, sentinel reduced to matchstick sculpture. One hand brushes waist-high weeds, releasing pollen that wasn't ready. Your fault, the hubris of passage. Turn one last time, there's the shape, there's the shadow, there's the stone breath held since your departure. Blink, and it could be any old bridge. Keep blinking, make-believe erasure. But the night knows, and the night remembers. Fireflies gutter out one by one, junior varsity stars botching their final act. Their fade feels staged, like kids pretending to fall asleep during story time. You count 7 holdouts near the water's edge, glowbutts, committing light fraud against the bleeding dawn. Beneath them, the river coughs up last night's moonbeam fragments. Historians agree Mayan priests timed dawn ceremonies using Venus's position. But these fireflies run on Pokemon Go schedules. 3 drops hit your neck, skies spit, prompting groans. The bridge dissolves behind thinning mist. Old wizard refusing to admit his beard's half gone. Raise your collar, soggy rebellion against the humid advance of day. Somewhere, an insomniac rooster crows, disgraced meteorologist announcing a sun that's already winning. Your stolen pebble warms in hand, calorie burned from guilt alone. Beside it, a ladybug hitches a ride, 6-legged Uber to the bridge's shadow. Blow gently, it wings off, a checkered speck swallowed by the graying air. Groundwater tickles your ankles, maybe from an Anglo-Saxon well buried here, or a sewage leak. Arborists found a car's engine block under these willows, 1950s DeSoto, that time-traveled here via flood. Lightning bugs flash their final love letters, Morse code for good luck. Next mating season, you swat a mosquito, red smudge, that might have carried Genghis Khan's DNA for all you know. Mornings are pushy like that, all faux optimism and uninvited DNA swaps. East glows orange now, God's teabag steeped too long. The bridge flattens into a charcoal sketch, minimalist art on nature's gallery wall. 3 crows heckle from a power line, stand-up critics, roasting the sunrise's derivative color palette. Step into a deuce-lick fern, its cold kiss ascends your shin. Feels like stepping on a dead mermaid's handshake. Your stomach growls, remix of last night's silence. Breakfast possibilities taunt from 2 eras, vending machine Pop-Tarts or imaginary Tudor-era gruel. The bridge whispers something about roasted hazelnuts, or maybe that's just the tinnitus talking. 1 firefly dares reignite Lazarus bug, challenging solar authority. The sunrise smothers it mid-blip, celestial censorship at its pettiest. Scholars still feud over whether medieval dawn bell ringers used hammers or mallets, important stuff for insomniac historians. You hum a sea shanty, tribute to all the dew getting evaporated without consent. Trees yawn awake, creaking joints louder than your grandpa's. 8 spiderwebs glint between branches, nature's abandoned xylophones. Snap, a twig, sound echoes like a tiny femur breaking. The pebble in your palm absorbs the vibration, petty theft of kinetic energy. Blackberries glisten sticky grenades, primed for breakfast gorillas. Pluck 1 purple detonation on your tongue, acidic enough to make a lemon pucker. 13 seeds get swallowed, future thorny, regrets taking root in your gut. A horse snorts somewhere ghost of the bridge's first rider, or just Dave's therapy mare from Pine Acres Ranch. The mist lifts fully now, revealing a landscape as mild as unbuttered toast. That shadow you thought was a bear, just a trash bag wedged in hawthorns, industrial kelp in an ocean of green. Your knees crack upon standing, pledge of allegiance to middle age. The bridge's silhouette shrinks to a paperclip bent by bored gods. 2nd star to the right. Straight on till breakfast. Only 8 weeds need pluck from your socks. Personal best for this stretch. 3 higher brain functions petition to check your phone. Denied. The bridge deserves this final unplugged moment. Sunlight hits your wristwatch, glass glares like Judgment Day's flashlight. Time's up, says the ticking. Turn your back. Proper protagonists never look. Until they do. The bridge remains crumpled love note tossed in Earth's back pocket. Nostalgia fogs your sternum, less a feeling, more a humidity index. 300 paces down the logging road, civilization's roar revs its engines. You don't whistle. You don't cry. You just walk, carrying the bridge in your pocket, like a borrowed cigarette lighter. The heron's nest, stars dim, party guests nursing celestial hangovers. 1 brazen firefly flicks its switch, half-hearted rebellion snuffed by photons. The bridge watches it die, quiet approval in its crumbling spine. First car horn of the day blares, bullfrog with a megaphone. Your pupils contract, dragged into daylight's lobby, kicking and screaming. Footsteps sync with a digital rhythm now, Heartbeats per minute, downgraded from poetry to prose. Kinetic residue clings, stone dust in your pores, river hum in your marrow. You'll shower it off, but the bridge knows better. Some bonds outlive dawn's counterfeit stars. Fireflies surrender their glow-tiny lanterns dunked in dawn's milky tea. Their absence leaves spaces where wonder once hummed, empty stages where night once danced. You uncurl your fingers, the stolen pebble nestled there, smooth as a baby's sigh. Raindrops patter the river's skin, shushing the world into one long exhale. Mist thins to nothing, the bridge's silhouette softening like sugar in lukewarm water. Your breath sinks with reeds swaying, old friends whispering secrets you'll never quite hear. That lone ladybug, gone now, dissolved into the green like a forgotten wish. Press the pebble to your cheek. Its coolness seeps into bone, gentler than memory. Morning stretches wide, yawns of gold melting, night's sharp edges. Even the crows grow still, their critiques muffled by light's thick blanket. Your socks cling with dew, each step a murmured apology to the earth. The air tastes of wet soil and almost ripe blackberries, a flavor older than temples. Somewhere beyond these trees, engines grumble, worlds colliding over coffee and traffic lights. But here, stillness pools like spilled honey, thick and golden and slow. Let your shoulders sink, the bridge's weight lifting as dawn claims its dues. Blink once, slow, let eyelids paint the scene in watercolor blurs. Your pocket holds the pebble, and the pebble holds the night's final sigh. Breath deep, let lungs fill with the quiet that lives between heartbeats. The path ahead shimmers, a suggestion more than a road. You walk it barefoot in your mind, toes brushing phantom ferns. Light thickens. Birds stitch the silence with half-remembered songs. One last look, the bridge blurs into myth behind you, its stones humming lullabies only rivers understand. Your footsteps grow lighter, carrying less of you, more of the dark's soft residue. Sleep comes whispering now, not an ending, but a tide pulling you home. Let it. The bridge remains. The night remains. And somewhere, a pebble waits to warm again in someone's open palm.